Hello and welcome back to Warhammer. My name is Eric.
Welcome, Eric.
Nope.
Welcome, Christian. Welcome, James.
Is this a meeting?
Thank you.
Podcast Anonymous.
Yeah, the reason I've called you guys here today is because I'd like to discuss 40K and how I think we need
It's
to all do
ruined our
more.
lives.
Oh,
Oh,
I want to
more.
do more of it.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Are you in,
I'm in.
Eric?
For what? I missed it.
More 40K.
Like what?
This is a support group now
what
for.
kind of? Oh, I get it. It's not. It's like the opposite of Alcoholics
Yes,
Anonymous.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Instead of encouraging people to stay away from crack, we're saying please buy our crack.
And on that note, let's go into our Patreon. The people who bought into
Exactly.
our crack.
Yeah. Perfect.
There's names. We call
Yeah.
it the Imperial Tithe.
On this Imperial Tithe, we're just gonna list everyone who has a new Patreon to us. So Osborne, Andrew, Shaitan, Jamie, Comrade Waldo, Peter, Jordan,
Surprised Christian didn't flinch at that.
Daniel,
Comrade?
Flipping tables.
Cookie, Christopher, Isaac, Marshall, Sturban 94.
What the hell? What kind of person is Sturban? It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Damn commies. Carry on.
So translates to death, but okay. Rogan, Josh, and Halloumi, Ryan, Sean, Nolan, Ursa Noir, Yermwolf, a rather disgruntled guardsman, Helios01, Stefan, Brooks, Eklund, BJ, Corey, Scott, Nathan, Aratek?
It's a word.
Either or. Eric and Morris.
Yeah, sweet. Thanks a lot for contributing. We're really making some progress. So if you guys also want to contribute, go to our Patreon. You know, the more money you give us, the more time we can actually commit to the podcast. So it helps out a lot.
And more content we're able to release.
Yeah,
more
yeah.
and better.
Yeah,
Faster,
like,
sleeker, stronger.
We keep tossing out the idea, oh, yeah, let's do battle reports. But that's going to take time and money. So if you want to see stuff like that.
Time and money and a little bit of love from our good friend James.
Yeah. So. I don't know. Specifically.
I don't know what that means.
Specifically. Well,
Am I giving you guys handies?
why don't I show you what a little
Is that
goblin
it
is supposed to do?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So no, go check it out. Check us out. If you can even give us $1 a month, it helps a lot when you got 15,000 people doing it. So
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
That would be pretty fantastic for us.
Yeah. Would be.
It would be. It would be pretty great.
Sweet. So go contribute. We're gonna do our community corner next. This one, it's for the art of wargaming, and the guy who did this podcast messaged me, and he's like, "Oh, hey, loving your podcast, blah blah blah." So we just started talking, and eventually, like, he leaked, "Oh yeah, I'm doing a podcast too." Like, so I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll have a listen. I'm sure it's gonna be terrible," but turned out it wasn't. It was actually pretty cool. So basically, his
Thank God, right?
yeah, no, it was actually really good. I listened to a handful of episodes, and then all my other podcasts started getting backlogged, so I had to shuffle through all them again, and now my life's chaos, and I can't get it under control again. But basically, the art of wargaming.
Life's tough.
It's rough, man. There's only so many hours in a day to listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
But basically, the art of wargaming is it's him and his buddy, and they do two things. They do what do you call like medieval sword fighting? Like
Hema?
yeah, they do some type of HEMA, or I don't know which faction they're in or whatever, but they do that. And then
It's like LARPing, but real.
yeah.
So not like LARPing at all then.
Yeah.
Well, it is role play, and it is a live action, but it's less of a story and more of a contest. Right?
Let's pull up the definitions.
I
Google out.
actually have their description of how they describe their own podcast.
Oh, okay.
If you want to.
No, I wanted to speak
All
from
right.
the heart, because I genuinely
Speak from the heart.
this is me self-promoting.
Yeah,
it.
there's not a paid advertisement.
No. Or even they wanted it, but I'm
you
giving
wanted-
it to them anyways. They begged and pleaded, don't mention it. But yeah, so they do that, and then they also do 40K. So the concept of their podcast is they are reading like ancient war manuscripts. Like, what's the war manuscript by the famous Chinese guy?
Sun Tzu, The Art of War.
Yeah, so they're reading that, and then they're going through that and like seeing how they can apply it to like their HEMA, and also how they can apply it to 40K, and also what I really enjoyed, like just their day-to-day life. It was very interesting. Like,
Strike from the shadows.
no, like it was like yeah, like it was talking about like the types of people you should get involved in, and then it was just kind of like putting into practical terms. I really enjoyed it. It was quite interesting and informative. Like, it was just, and it was cool too. Like when they were talking, they're like just talking about war. Not that they're fighting in a war, but they're actually hitting each other with swords when they're saying like, oh, it's tough to keep a shield wall information. Like they actually have done that and like struggled or know the chaos of battle. You know, as much as you can.
The blood.
No, like as much as you can without
Yeah.
Like it's still fucking crazy having
it's a
people
it's a
swing
strong
metal swords
physical
at you.
content.
Yeah. So
of course.
it was very cool. Go check them out. The Art of Wargaming. There is 30% 40K in there. 30% that HEMA stuff, and then just day-to-day life. So it was very good. I enjoyed it. Go check it out, or don't, but probably don't, but probably do.
Do you know how to give shout-outs?
No.
We'll get there.
Okay.
He's learning.
We're working on it.
Anything else before we dive into our episode?
No.
All right. So, what? Don't point at Yaga. What is Yaga?
That was the
I
guy's
didn't write it
name.
in. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Yaga was the guy's name.
I just didn't know if you were gonna.
I was hoping it would come
Don't put
up
it in the notes
naturally.
if you're not gonna use it.
I didn't put it in the notes.
First, you get mad at me for not having the notes last time, and now I have the notes. I point out stuff in the notes, and now you guys are pissed at me.
Yaga.
Impossible.
That's the guy who does him and the other guy.
Cool. All right, now moving on.
Art of Wargaming.
Now that we've covered that point,
Why do you guys invite this guy?
why do you put it in the notes?
It's very disjointed this episode so far.
Yikes.
No, I think that is actually pretty on track. Usually there's a huge derailment at the very beginning, and then it takes forever to actually get to the content.
We're like 10 minutes early, so if anyone wants to talk about something for 10 minutes before our episode actually starts, now's your chance.
I do enjoy how Christian's like, yeah, let's do 7 o'clock. No, 7:30.
Yeah.
Now 7:30, but then he comes over at 2.
Okay, actually, it was really funny. So James and I were hanging out earlier, doing something, and
So much worse than actually telling them what it was.
no, that's okay.
Okay.
And so then, like, your text is like, Christian's like, hey, like, do you want to come over early and start recording the podcast? And I was like, Christian, we said 7, and you were the only one who was like, hey, how about 7:30? Like, I can't do it earlier. So we're like, all right, fine, 7:30. Like, we just adjusted accordingly. And then all of a
Life
sudden, we
goes
got a
on.
text that's like, hey, come over earlier. That son of a
Our
bitch.
sweet boy Christian, how we love him.
Just things changed. It didn't have to be a thing.
I like how you justify it. I was going to hang out with my family, but then I didn't. The word for word quote.
And I ended up here somehow. It's completely out of my control.
Yikes.
Holy shit.
Completely out of my control. All right, let's get into it then. Episode 66. This is actually kind of kicking off something different for us.
Sure, yeah.
This is going to be a repeating episode. If you are paying attention enough and you care to delve into the meta that is Lorehammer,
The Warhammer meta.
you would have seen a particular pattern that's been followed for a good number of episodes. And we're inserting a new style of episode into that pattern.
Oh,
Yeah.
big things.
Okay, I thought for a second you were like, we are? I was like,
I was excited.
Aren't we?
I was excited.
No, we're including something that's really important to us is like building the setting of 40K.
Sure.
Like more like we like the story and we like the characters in them, but the setting is always way more important to us.
Yeah, and one of the things we've always done is we've built our own things in that setting. Like we built the Liber Malleus, you've built your chapter or your dynasty. We
Yeah.
all build our own things in this setting. I don't think anyone in our group plays like just stock run of the mill.
No one plays Ultramarines.
Yeah, like I think the closest would be Nathan, who plays Thousand Suns. but
Custodes.
You can't really
You
do
can't.
much with
No,
Custodes,
same with Grey
but-
Knights. You can't. You can build your own stories, but
Yeah.
you can't build your own Custodes.
But yeah, like that's one of the big things. We love the setting of 40K, and we love being able to add our own flair to it.
Yeah, and so we did an episode a little while ago on planets and classifications, and how do you describe a planet? What are the different ways you can build the life of a planet and give it like breath and meaning and flesh it out and everything?
Yeah, so it's not just desert world.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's boring.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Like anyone who does that lacks creative flair. Why are we looking at Christian?
What did I do?
He likes Star Wars. That's every planet in the whole universe.
I
is a
hate
desert
sand.
world.
It gets everywhere.
It's coarse.
And the women and children too. Anyways.
The younglings.
So for this, what we've decided is that we're going to pick a book that exists in 40K every go around, and we are going to run through the non-sentient alien creatures as well as any plants that are described in the book. In another way for you to flesh out stories of, another way to help flesh out your home planet.
Sure.
Or if you're writing RPGs, you can include
That's a big
these things. Because, I mean, for us, I know for
There's
us.
a couple where we're going through like, oh, I can't wait to spring that on
Yeah, no,
somebody.
exactly. Like we're writing this and we're just shouting back and forth with each other, like how we would put these in our own stories to screw with all the players. So we just want you guys to also do the same thing.
Oh, yes.
And get as excited as we are. Anyways, so this first episode that we're doing is from the 1987 Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. So this is the very first rule book that Games Workshop released for tabletop 40K.
Yeah.
Christian wasn't even a twinkle in his father's eye at that point.
No, he wasn't. I was a twinkle in my father's eye at that point.
Were you?
Yeah.
When were you born?
89.
No, you weren't.
I was a twinkle.
You weren't a
Wait.
twinkle.
When we say twinkle in the eye, are you saying that my sperm was in my father's eye, or are we saying like my father thought about having me?
Your father, yeah.
'Cause no, my dad definitely thought of having me at that point.
Oh.
He already had one messed up son, and he's like, I need a replacement.
Yeah.
He's already working on a plan.
Yeah.
Grant was a miserable little
terror.
terror for the first couple of years. So thankfully,
First couple.
yeah.
I'm still scared of that, man. I have nightmares because of the time I spent with him. Anyways, so 1987 Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader, and this game played very differently from the tabletop that we know now.
Yeah, it played really much more like a role playing game.
An action role playing game,
Yeah,
though. It was really
tabletop.
crazy. Imagine like you play current tabletop, but there is a game master also playing with you, officiating and changing the story, narrative, and the terrain around you.
And even potentially rules. Like,
And in the rules, like it was very fluid. I mean, it's obviously very old, but it wasn't a tactician's game back then.
no, I doubt it would have been.
No.
I'm sure it wouldn't have been very balanced. I'm sure
No, for sure. It was much
they
more
haven't
based.
mastered it in 30 years of
I'm balancing.
But it was built around a story.
Yeah.
Everything about 40K was a story driven, which is kind of cool because these things are just gold mines for different pieces of interesting information you can add to your own story.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we got 3 things to keep in mind while we're going through
Yes.
all these creatures. The very first ones is items that we're talking about, the plants and animals that we're talking about are only from this book. So if you want to hear about void whales,
I want to hear about void whales.
they're not going to be in this because they weren't in that book specifically.
Yes, exactly. If you want to hear about something that's specifically mentioned in like the Dark Heresy series, like it's not in this episode.
Yeah, so don't message us saying we miss these cool things.
Yeah,
Because we're going to
exactly.
get to them. Like, we would love to do eventually like a Dark Heresy Bestiary.
Absolutely.
you know?
But the only trouble thing is how many books are there in Dark Heresy to describe all those creatures?
we'll do it.
Yeah, no, we will, but there's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
out there.
So
we
that's
know
point
you're
number
excited
1.
to hear things,
Yeah.
but just remember, we specifically are doing this book.
Yeah. Point number 2 is this book is 33 years old, and it could very well, stuff that we've talked about could have been retconned, changed, or even just abandoned completely.
Yeah, like in this book, squats were a very big thing.
Yeah,
and squats don't exist anymore, right? So it's very possible that there are
they
things
exist in the lore, but
they don't exist in any stories or anything that's current. When was the last story?
Necromunda.
Necromunda.
Necromunda
Yeah,
had squats?
They had squats.
They brought
it
it
was
back,
released.
They
this
released
year,
one,
yeah.
and they actually released it coming out.
Ah,
Another
okay.
one.
I think they released 2 even, didn't they?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
They're
But-
back. They're back.
But anyways, like Space Marines in this edition they weren't super soldiers. There was no Primarchs. They were like
They were just humans.
Marines in space.
Yeah.
You know? So if some of the stuff that we talk about has changed or no longer exists, keep that in mind. We're talking about this book specifically from this era.
Right. And then I guess the last thing is something we already said. We will eventually cover other bestiaries and plants listed in otherworld setting books in the 40K universe.
Exactly. So keep those in mind. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
as
This
we
was a
go
good
on.
episode. I learned a lot. A lot
It's
of there's a
very
lot of
good,
very oh my god, that's so 40K things in here.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So the first portion that we're going to talk about are all the alien creatures that were in the book. And the very first creature listed is an amble.
Yeah, they're very cool. So I think we're gonna try to make this episode on video, the very first video episode, put it on YouTube. So if you want to go check out the images, there's a lot of cool old artwork that we're gonna be pulling up. So yeah, as we see here, this is an amble. So an amble are 10-foot tall bug apes. They are covered with a hard shell and stand on 2 legs. Their forearms are very long compared to the rest of their body, and they will run on all 4s. Their appendages end in very large claws, and their mouth consists of 2 massive serrated mandibles. Their eyes can see in the heat spectrum.
So that's kind of what they look like, these massive hulking creatures. They kind of stand like apes with really broad shoulders and really long forearms and really short back legs. But instead of fur, they're covered in like chitin almost.
Yeah, it looks like some type of...
And it also looks like some flesh as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just another interesting thing about them is, their eyes see in the heat spectrum, apparently.
Which comes up into play later. So
they were originally found on the desert planet of Luther McIntyre 9, which was a death world. And because of this, they live underground because it was really hot.
So you're telling me that the Scots made it into space?
They did in the very first book.
I refuse to believe that.
What's crazy about
that's not believable.
What's crazy about Luther McIntyre, the planet, it comes up a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's a throwaway planet that comes back all the time. You're like, I just need a name for a planet where this one thing happened in one time. Use Luther McIntyre 9. Like, it's actually pretty funny how many times
Wait, is it McIntyre or McIntyre?
It's McIntyre.
Oh, I think, is that Irish?
It's not Mac. There's no A in front of the C.
Okay, I think that's Irish. I also refuse to believe they got to space, so I'll cover my bases.
Is that a threat?
That's right.
You're not going to let the Irish...
I won't let it happen.
So, because that it's a desert planet, these ambles live underground. They create nests... wrong thing. For misguided reasons, here we go. Attempts have been made.
On track.
Yeah. Attempts have been made to domesticate them across the galaxy by the Imperium, and now they can be found on many different planets. So they were originally intended to be used as attack animals.
Yeah, like protection, like
guard dogs.
Right,
guard
yeah,
dogs,
but like a really big hulking creature.
Yeah.
But it failed miserably because they couldn't keep them corralled because they would just burrow their way out. And apparently like any attempt to do it would just they would escape.
Yeah.
So
you cannot domesticate these things. But I love that they spread them to many worlds
before they realize
wait a minute.
So now they're like an infestation on many worlds, not just Luther
McIntyre.
So ambles are social creatures, primarily staying in packs with several adults carrying fur broods of 4 to 7 offsprings. They create nests underground where they live and incubate their eggs within it. These offsprings in their larva stage are called boar worms, and when swarming can be deceivingly dangerous due to the boring into your flesh and whatnot.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Boar worms is actually a fairly recent addition. We added it in here, but boar worms I don't think are mentioned actually in the 1987
No, I
book.
don't think
That's
so.
From Blackstone Fortress.
Yeah.
So, but it very cool to think. We were kind of just describing like how they did in the boar worms. It just felt like no point to leave them out.
Yeah.
So amble are very competent tunnelers, often making vast systems underground. They also use their tunneling as a way to ambush their prey as they burst upon them, smashing them with their large forearms. So they like stun them, I think, is how they describe it.
And then they lick them with their dual tongue and their mandibles. And
Nope. That's not how it works at all. They crush their body with their massive mandibles and then slowly eat them.
Seems like a perfect animal to domesticate.
Right.
Just a nice little amble lap
A guard dog.
Yeah, the bugs in Starship Troopers just ripping people apart.
Let's domesticate those.
Come here, Sparky. Right.
So even though they are found on many different planets, Imperial xenologists have found no sign of genetic drift or other morphic changes other than expected color variations. So they're pretty much the same across the entire galaxy.
Which is crazy. Even though they've had thousands of years to develop and adapt to different environments, they're always the same. Yeah. They've reached their peak. They cannot evolve beyond.
They're apex.
Sad.
Oh, that's in here. Their only emotion is sadness. Just a quick question for you guys then. Because they did bring them back recently.
Yeah.
Into the lore through
Blackstone.
and Blackstone Fortress. Are you guys including that new information then?
I just said that boar worms.
I think
are from
only
the-
You're right,
boar
but
worms.
is that just the only thing you added, or like
think
could
so.
any of that other information? I don't know a lot about them to be honest. So.
On their Lexicanum page. So we were going through the 1987 book, and we had Lexicanum and like Wiki open at the
So
same
you're
time.
very like
We're seeing what
comparing
information
notes.
comes from what, and
Right.
for the most part, if we came across a different piece of information,
Yeah.
sourced in another book, we just left it out.
Okay.
But this should be everything there is about ambles.
So if it comes up again in another book,
Probably won't be anything else to add.
okay.
Yeah.
Just for clarity. You weren't super clear at the very beginning of the podcast about
About
what
the whole,
the
we're
whole
only
book.
taking
Yes.
from the Rogue Trader book.
Yes.
Wasn't very.
That's
It wasn't
tough.
very clear.
I get it. Sometimes it's tough.
I mean, it's 7:35, 2 o'clock. Those are hard concepts.
Yeah.
I was free. I was just asking if you were free too.
He forgot where his family was. He
Spending
lost
time with
them.
them.
I think they left actually.
Ah.
Like gone. Like
More time
So-
for Warhammer.
So one thing to note too is the Imperium eventually did make mechanical ambots to fulfill that like
Guard dog.
yeah.
And they modeled it after these.
yeah it's a very cool model. It is funny that they're so determined that like
We're
you could
convinced that this is the perfect thing.
Yeah, and maybe it was part of like the domestication attempt. Like maybe if we make robot ones, the real ones will stay too.
Make female like robot ones and stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, like,
A little bit of amble waifus there.
it is funny just how determined they were to try to get these domesticated.
Ah.
Yeah. So up next we have the bouncers.
I heard James really
not
wants
them.
to tell us about the bouncers actually.
That's right. As a matter of fact, I had insisted prior to this that I be the one who talk about them. I'm an expert, some would say. Researched
I'm
it
not
for
cold.
years.
Should I turn this up?
Yeah, my thighs are cold.
just your thighs.
You got it, baby girl.
I can fix that.
I can fix that. I can fix that. What movie is that from?
That's from Holes.
Oh, that's right.
It's the
yeah,
guy
yeah,
who's
yeah.
remember
Holes
he's
and
in
thighs.
Psych 2.
That's right. Okay, yeah.
I can fix that.
I can fix that. In the rain.
I can fix that.
That's right. There's a hole in my heart.
Oh my god.
I can fix that. All right, bouncers.
All right. So bouncers are spherical, balloon-shaped creatures. They are covered in red and yellow veins.
It's super veiny
I like
looking
that.
too.
Yeah.
Like
Lacking any real skeleton, they instead keep their shape by inflating sections of tissue within their bodies. They also have claw-like feet, but these are normally not visible. They dwell in caves and live in large groupings. There's a bunch of little balls.
They're
veiny
balloons,
balls.
Yeah.
but they are thick veins on their bodies.
That's the way I like it.
It looks
They're ribbed
weird.
for your pleasure.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you doing?
Whatever
You
one
like
would
to
do
shove
it.
them up and then have them inflate? James, you pervert.
No.
You sick man.
Don't like that.
And just the feet are sticking out. So,
They're not visible.
so they kind of just.
They tickle the end. Doesn't everybody do this? God, you guys are such prudes. They're native to the feudal world of Chbal and have adapted to the windy climate perfectly. Their name comes from their ability to bounce several meters at a time, even reaching second-story levels. When this bounce isn't enough to get them where they want to go, they use the wind currents to drastically increase what they can do. They can even be found across oceans using the wind.
Yeah, so they like travel from continent to continent across oceans just on the wind. So
Yeah.
that's like way more of a float and less of a bounce.
Yeah.
So
Tomato, tomato.
yeah.
Even though they can be quite large, they have an inquisitive nature and are even playful. They can mimic speech, which suggests they have a
A
mouth.
mouth, but there's no description of a mouth on
Oh,
it.
no,
at
it's
all.
just like
It's the
it
wind
comes-
escaping and
Yeah,
they're
it's
making
like-
vibrations with their tissue.
They have a butt, obviously.
Of course, of course.
And that just
Why?
like kind of farts
How do you
out.
know they have
well,
a
how does
butt?
the inflate and deflate if it's not coming?
Maybe it
out
just
through the
just
hole?
goes through their tissue. They just push things out like osmosis.
Look, if anyone knows anything about bouncers, it's going to be James.
Yeah, trust me. Trust me, they have a butthole.
So they can mimic speech and have even shown interest in activities of others. Bouncers are not aggressive or hostile by nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
these are just cute little cuddly bounce boys.
That seems not 40k at all.
Veiny.
Well,
veiny.
once you get into the veiny part,
hold on.
and whatever
hold
James
on.
does to them,
When they're
that's grimdark.
that's pretty grimdark.
Slanesh is always pleased with what I do with them, okay? But when threatened, groups of bouncers will jump on their target, extending their claws to impale their victims. However, they seem to rather avoid confrontation due to their delicateness. A single cut or tear in their skin membrane is normally enough to deflate a bouncer, killing it.
Oh, poor little
That's
guy.
right.
But
Yeah.
they travel in
Little
very large groups, and
Yeah.
when threatened, they all just congregate on their threat and just jump and bounce on it with their claws and rip it to shreds.
Yeah.
I don't know if they eat. It doesn't ever describe that they
They
eat.
they use the nitrogen in the air.
Honestly,
That's
like it's way more like
Anybody's guess, yeah.
Yeah. It's a funny image, like you're just doing something and they're just in the background like bouncing and you okay, they're just swarming, you're bouncing.
Yeah, like your pod crashed or whatever in the middle of a forest, right? Because these things live in caves too. So let's say you crash in front of a cave, or you go in there for shelter, and all of a sudden there's just these things, like 50 of them bouncing all around you, like you're
The fuck is this place?
You're just trying to sleep. And
Boing.
yeah. But a playful nature, so
Yeah.
it's kind of fun.
Okay. Up next, we got the carnivorous sand clam. There's a nice picture for you. As you can tell, it's a clam.
Oof. So these large clams are found on the aquatic world of salutation. They cannot move very fast, so they lay dormant, hiding under muddy beaches or whatever kind of liquid area, waiting for their prey. And so their sizes they can reach up to is 2 meters across.
So that's fun.
That's a 6 foot across clam. Pretty big clam.
That's big enough to fit me in it.
James inserts bouncer. James inserts into clam.
This is the 40k version of a turkducken. And then we roast it all.
And then we feast.
Yeah.
Lorehammer feasts.
Num num.
Nice.
I was going to say, there's nothing about how these animals taste in here. Is there a section on...
That's open to your interpretation.
That's
it all
in-
tastes like chicken.
That's in the gastronomic book that
okay.
came out in
Gastronomicon?
1997. Gastronomicon.
So the clam can feel vibrations or movement in the mud or sand above them, and then they rapidly open, drawing the victim in, and snapping shut their shell super quick, trapping them inside to be eaten. They then resubmerge themselves into the sand to start the process.
Wiggle,
anew.
wiggle.
Some creatures are too large to be fully encased by the clam, and in these cases, the strength of the clam's valves or shell will break, crush, or even sever appendages of the victim. If you're caught by these carnivorous clams, your only hope is to kill the clam, thereby freeing yourself. There's no way to pry yourself out.
Apparently, it's just such a strong snap that you can't just
Force
open
your
it.
way
You
out.
have to actually kill
Yeah,
the
you could
clam.
get out if you had a mechanical fucking...
Sure.
But your hands alone will not do you the trick.
Yeah.
Do the trick.
What about a fork?
Probably.
What if you're trying to
Is
eat
there
it?
salt on it?
You're eating the clam, it's trying to eat you.
Who will eat first?
I like all my dinners to be have a fighting chance.
It was funny too going through these books. They had cool little tidbits of information. So they had how to use these in games.
Yeah, for the GM.
Yeah.
Where would you put these?
Yeah.
Here's a scenario where you could naturally introduce them to your game.
Yeah, and these basically were used as they described them
Landmines.
as landmines. Yeah, so the GM would scatter them secretly across the board, and then people would just get eaten by clams. It's just oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. If you think I'm not using this in some RPG that I do in the future,
Boom.
obviously.
Well, I would. Controversial opinion. It might even be cool if they did insert a narrative style where it did have a GM. If you were playing narrative 40k,
Like
and it just
currently?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that'd be
That'd be sweet.
interesting.
Yeah,
And you could just have
Well,
the
we've
story
thrown
being
around that
told.
idea even.
That's interesting.
We've done it a couple of times, sort of. Sort of.
yeah, sort of. Yeah, no, we have
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be fun.
for sure.
All right, next on the list, Katakan Devil, Cetacean Devil, however you want to say Katakan or Cetacean.
That's scary.
Don't like that. Just wait till you learn.
Yeah,
about
we read about it.
The looks don't compare to what it can do.
So, native to the imperial death world of Catachan, these ferocious animals have also been introduced to other worlds across the Imperium.
For domestication.
For fun.
For fun.
You know, you need something to do on the
For
weekend.
fun.
And your 2 hours of downtime out of the factory. It's nice to go hunt one of these.
Well, yeah, you can't sleep. You're on too many drugs. So you do this. Anyways, their body consists of segmented sections, each having a pair of legs. The older they get, the more segments they grow, with large, fully grown devils reaching up to 30 meters long.
It's fun.
The size of a small train.
Yeah. So
You like
that's
them?
100 feet.
Their tails end in a vicious stinger capable of poisoning its victims into a dazed state. The devil's front legs grow to become large pincer claws, with one claw being much larger than the other. It's very scorpion-esque on both ends, and the middle is like an armored centipede.
Yeah, millipede, centipede.
Yeah.
What's the difference technically?
Number of legs?
Centa.
Also just being two different creatures altogether.
Yeah. What we have here are centipedes.
I thought like one of them was poisonous too. But
Centipedes
anywho.
millipedes are usually pretty docile.
Oh, okay.
Centipedes are like insect predators.
What does milli mean?
1,000.
What does centa mean?
100.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I got myself a biology degree.
I just found it in the dumpster.
Okay. Its head is small and pointed and has a pair... You read that one? Nope. And has a pair of luminous green eyes. Its mouth is covered by small tentacles that sting the prey, while the mouth itself is extendable and has two mandibles for cutting up its prey. It's got a little alien mouth in there.
Catachan is just like a nice place to be.
It's a vacation spot for sure.
For sure.
While they live in social groups, led by a couple devils and many younger devil spawn. That's nice.
Devil spawn.
They're extremely territorial and hostile, whether to intruders or other species, or even rival devils.
Yeah, so extremely aggressive and dangerous. Like they're not. You can't just avoid these. They'll seek you out if you're in their territory. Yeah, they're hunters. 30-meter long
train
size.
At least you can hear them coming.
Hunters. I don't know if you can.
They're
Like,
stealthy.
yeah. Like could you hear them coming? Like it doesn't go choo choo. Like,
I'm sure you could hear the rustling in the leaves.
or does that just sound like wind? Or I don't know. Like they sound like amazing hunters. So maybe you can hear them, and maybe you just can't
Maybe they're
escape.
just too
And is that
fast.
even worse?
Yeah.
Once you hear it, it's already too late. It's already locked.
You're already dead. It's like a death knell.
Yeah.
If you hear it, you're dead. This has got to be one of my favorite creatures, though, that we're about to talk about today. The Catachan face eater.
You like that?
So for those who aren't watching this, Mark just put up a picture of the actual Catachan face eater blown up, so it's tough to see, that's not his fault. The image is absolutely tiny. And then next to it, a picture of a dishcloth. And you'll see why that actually kind of makes sense. So another creature native to Catachan, but has foolishly been introduced to other worlds, is
Domestication.
is the face
the
eater.
Imperium's like, fuck all Xenos, except the wildlife. We're gonna take those.
And then distribute them evenly across the galaxy.
Resembling nothing more than a limp or soggy cloth, this creature is truly terrifying. So hanging from branches in the jungle or pipes and girders in the city, the face eater waits until their prey comes into range, approximately 8 feet. Using their powerful muscles, they launch themselves onto the face of their victim. Mm-hmm. They latch on using hundreds of tiny but viciously sharp hooks and then begin to suffocate them.
You like that?
At the same time...
Oh, James getting ideas what he could do with this.
At the same time, they begin to discharge digestive juices onto their prey to be absorbed back into the face eater.
Literally does what it says it does. It eats your face.
Yes.
It just lets the rest of you go to waste.
This has to be like the most unassuming thing too.
It looks like
dishcloth.
a dishcloth.
Nothing in 40K is safe.
Even the
and it can
dishcloth.
leap 8 feet at you.
Well, I know if I ever see a dishcloth in the woods to stay
Burn
the
it.
away.
Yeah,
Burn it.
Shoot it. Burn it.
No, burn the forest. The whole forest.
Yeah.
It's already infested. But the interesting thing is that when we're thinking about it, like, it doesn't specifically go after humans, right?
No, it'll
like
do
this thing
anything,
will
yeah.
also go after animals.
Small children. Oh, yes.
Small children are human, Mark.
Are they, though?
Contrary to popular opinion.
Are they?
Contrary to his opinion, not popular opinion.
No, okay, I'll get behind that, yeah.
Yeah. No, but like these exist in the Catachan forest, right?
Yeah.
So has this ever latched on to a devil?
Oh, no.
Right? Like,
Have they tried to breed?
my God, what have we created? It's like the Jurassic
Park.
Yeah. Like, you wanted it bigger. You wanted it more scary. We've created the Anyways. So once the victim is dead, so it's suffocated you, the face eater then lays its eggs within the body, and the maggots will hatch within a matter of hours, feeding upon the body of their host until they grow large enough to morph into adult eaters. Face eaters.
Yeah.
So this reproductive cycle is actually extremely fast and has led to many outbreaks on Imperial worlds.
That's nice.
Can they move?
From planets they've been introduced.
How do they jump around?
Do they move
like,
8 feet?
But they also
just
like
hop?
infest everything. Yeah, they hop. They like just fling themselves using muscles.
Have you ever seen a dishcloth get tossed across a room?
Just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah,
damn.
except the dishcloth is doing the tossing.
It's throwing itself.
Yeah. But yeah, also the Imperium has tried to domesticate them,
Of course.
right? Yeah. They've introduced them
They're
to
like,
other
oh,
worlds.
this could be great blankets. We no longer need to make blankets. But
Yeah. It also doesn't
domestication has been slow.
It also doesn't say how big they actually are. Like, are they
Yeah.
1 foot across? Are they 5 feet across? We don't really know. It says they resemble a cloth, but what size are they?
bed
Are they bed sheet? Yeah, like maybe.
I am going to guess they're probably the size of a human head.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have the name face eater.
Yeah,
well, at the very
'cause
least,
it's
you
not
know
like
they can
a-
wrap around your head, but why can't they exceed that size?
Sure, I'm not saying anything conclusively. I'm just assuming based on their name.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but it
it
doesn't
makes
say.
sense.
Anywhere
it could
from
be,
1 to 18 feet.
Is a
knows?
reasonable assumption.
Who knows?
Once a face eater has latched onto the victim, very little can be done. Your best option is to flame the creature and its poor victim to limit the spread of this plague.
That was just our
Kill them
little.
both.
Yeah,
That was
you-
our little.
Yeah, you can't detach it. Like
No, you
they,
can't
They
rip it
latch
off.
on and automatically like they're spraying your face with acid, so you're most likely.
I thought it could have been kind of cool if you could survive one, like with the horrific cost of your face. But
You lose your entire face.
almost, yeah.
Maybe so.
Like it would be a cool like veteran, like a Cetacean veteran with just like
okay.
It only caught like half his face. or
right,
something.
exactly. It's all
Sure.
like
Here's
got
the
little
thing
needle
about
marks
this
in it.
is that when this was written, like Space Marines didn't exist, like we said before. So superhumans weren't a thing yet.
Cetaceans
Yeah. So yeah.
are the closest.
But they
superhuman.
didn't really. They weren't like as Cetacean as they are now.
Sure,
They
yeah.
were just like humans who lived on Catachan,
Yeah.
right? But now, like, if this latched onto like a Primarch, is the Primarch gonna die? Probably not.
Space Marine will just start spitting acid back.
Back
at
Right?
at
Yeah.
it.
It's like
It's just a
you're gonna
spitting
spit on me, right? But
You
like,
motherfucker.
so it's very like from this perspective, like this was like a terrifying thing. But there are
It's
things
still-
now.
it's
It's
very-
still bad. It's
Let's
still
not
bad.
downplay the
No,
face
no.
eater here. The
You're
only
right.
way to truly downplay the face eater is a group of face eaters is called a flollop.
That's right. That's right.
That
Flollop.
A flollop of face eaters. Just that's
Putting
Yeah.
that out there.
fact. That's canon. Not joking.
Yeah, that's written in one of their books.
Nice.
So
I like it. That's something I'd add.
Right? You write a story where you're just walking through and like, all right, fucking roll me an agility test. Wait, why? There's a flop coming, so you better prepare yourself.
You're just asking like, what the hell's a flop?
You son of a bitch, I'm in. All right.
Maybe I like it. You don't know me.
He's got a bouncer in his butt and a flop on his face.
That's how I want to go.
Emperor.
That's how I want to go out.
And then make me into a wallet. Right?
Sure.
All right.
he's not opposed to the idea. Crawlers.
So next we got Crawler. Who wants to do Crawler?
I'll do crawlers.
All right.
I couldn't find a good image of this one either.
Okay, you couldn't even make
Unfortunately.
one up. Just a real quick sketch on word paint.
Every time I pick up a pencil, it always just turns into dicks.
Weird how that happens.
It's a subconscious thing I'm starting to pick up.
People draw what they want to see, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. The
Crawlers.
crawler. Native to the planet Luther McIntyre 9, again,
Mm-hmm.
crawlers resemble squid or cuttlefish. Their rear shell has evolved to resemble a screw, which they use to burrow into soft, dry sand or other loose soils.
Yeah, one thing to note about this too is this is not a water creature.
A land squid.
Yes.
Excellent.
Huh?
James, like, I'm listening. I'm curious where this might go. I like tentacles.
Have there ever been any body squid? Burrow in.
To loose skin folds.
Don't like that.
They feed on microplankton that they pass by as they burrow, but won't pass up the opportunity to attack larger creatures, even humans, that they pass by.
So the plankton are also on land on this world?
Yeah, in the soil.
Okay.
I won't question it.
I'm not a
biologist.
I'm not a
You don't
plankton
know- you don't even
biologist.
know
I'm
about
not a biologist.
pistol shrimp, all right?
Okay, all right.
Now here's the thing to consider too. So this is Luther McIntyre. Everyone on this planet is probably drunk. So they're probably not
true.
the most reliable
That's
source
true.
of information.
It's all coming together now.
Yeah. So for all we know, this is actually a water creature.
They're just walking in the shallows. I'm on my way home. The hell was that? The squids are coming. Let me just alienate everyone who listens to this in the UK and Ireland. I'm on it.
I'm on it. So they are attracted to vibrations and activity from a considerable distance away. When they have reached their potential prey, their tentacle grasp and pull the victim towards their beak-like maw. They're very much a cuttlefish, like
Yeah.
very much.
I like this one. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. There have also been attempts at domesticating crawlers,
Naturally.
of course.
Why?
How else do you think they were going to get off planet? We had to domesticate them.
While initially simple and successful, these creatures disastrously altered the ecology of these planets in the long term, and attempts are normally abandoned after a few decades.
Yeah, because they'll just like strip, I assume, all the plant life. Because they'll just take all nutrients out of the soil, but they'll also like attack everything. They seem like very like good at what they do.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a plague really when I picture them.
Yeah.
Like a group of these just traveling together, stripping everything.
You painted this one picture we were talking about the episode about like their initial like how they were actually like domesticating and farming these. So it's like they poured like a concrete pit around so they couldn't escape, and then when it was time to like actually collect them, they get like a hammer or a thumper, like a hammer drill or
Yeah. Well, I was also like wondering like, okay, what if they travel throughout the entire planet?
or even that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have like a rancher who's like trying to farm them, and so he has like a locator that he's like clipped onto like one or two of these in this group, and he just like uses it to track them. And then when he's like, all right, it's time to harvest, like he goes and puts something on the ground that causes a lot of vibration.
Yeah.
And then these things are attracted to it. So,
And
but
then
it just
they
seems
pop up,
like
you just shoot them with shotgun.
no, exactly, yeah. But like, what's the range on these things that they need if you want to farm them? You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah, it
everything,
might
like a
be-
chicken coop is tiny. Like you can put a chicken in a very small space, but other animals need larger spaces.
Yeah.
But these things, like, how far do you need? So what if you're over like thousands of acres? Like, how do you keep track, and how do you attract them to the surface so you can hunt them?
Yeah.
Oh, it just seemed like to an interesting picture, like a crawler farmer. Like that's a character. That's a character that you meet in your next RPG. Is a guy who just farms crawlers.
Ex-crawler farmer. of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
He gave up that
they ruined
life.
his goddamn planet.
Exactly.
Now I hunt crawlers.
You've acquired a new mission. Kill 74 crawlers.
Bring me their beaks. Then you have a deal.
Oh, man. Okay, up next we have the mighty Crotalid.
Okay.
This is the fucking best thing
This
I've
one's
learned
pretty
in
great.
a long time. So it's a semi-aquatic carnivore. Crocodilids resemble large crocodiles, but considerably larger because it's 40K.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Everything's got to be juiced up.
Yeah. They live in large numbers along riverbanks and mud flats, feeding on aquatic prey or whatever creature ventures too close.
Yeah, or
Crocodiles.
anything, I guess.
Or anything, sure.
Yeah.
So it's a crocodile.
It's a crocodile.
It's a crocodile, but it's not a crocodile.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
you piqued my interest.
Crotalids are protected by thick scales and only have a very basic nervous system, making them difficult to kill because they just, like, you can take flesh out of them and they just don't care.
Yeah, rip off its arm.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
Crocodiles are like that. I saw a video of a
Yes.
crocodile.
ripping off another
Another
crocodile's
crocodile's arm, and it just did not even flinch.
Yeah, yeah.
It just like suddenly is like kind of swimming a little funny because like what the heck?
So they are difficult to kill because of that. However, since their teeth actually never stop growing, they have been observed to kill themselves with their own teeth impaling their brains. They just grow upwards and kill themselves.
It's good for population control. Nature has a way of balancing itself.
Life
'Cause-
Life
finds a way.
finds a way.
is that from something?
Is there an echo in
Yes,
here?
perfect.
I started it.
Let me finish.
I'm the quote guy, James.
He has one thing.
Eric
That's all I
can do.
got. That's all I
You have all
have.
the weird fetishes. Stick to your weird fetishes, James.
You be the fetish guy, James.
Teeth. That's my thing.
I love teeth that grow.
Big
But yeah, no,
teeth.
they'll like the bottom teeth, if they don't like just like how cats' claws, they have to constantly like scratch things to like what's it called when you de-sharpen
They
your
like to purr.
claws?
Cats meow meow.
What's it
purr.
called when you
There's
Kittens.
like I've seen pictures of like
what's the word?
I don't know.
Cats. We're talking about
Shave,
cats.
trim,
Oh my god.
Neuter.
declaw.
No. You tell your story. I'm gonna find this.
I've seen pictures of rams where their horns have grown around and then impaled their own heads because they've grown too big.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's dumb. That's
Same
pretty
with
fucking dumb.
Rodents too always have to chew on things in
Yeah.
order to keep their
With their
teeth
two
in check.
front teeth, yeah.
Yeah, it sucks to suck, I guess.
So crocodilids are a prolific species and will quickly dominate any area they inhabit as the apex predator. Once peak saturation of this species within an area happens, an unusual migration occurs.
The last migration of the crotalids. Seemingly instinctual, with no guidance whatsoever, up to 100 crotalids transcend reality and enter warp space. They use this parallel dimension to travel up to 10 fucking light years at a time, emerging on potentially beneficial planets very far away. This migration will occur only once every few decades if the population reaches a tipping point.
What?
So that's
Yes.
They enter the warp?
Yes.
They're warp crocodiles?
They aren't. They are real things, but they are able to enter the warp.
First of all, like, just imagine these things, like 100 of these things, like flying through the warp, getting attacked by demons.
But they're also badass enough that they actually fight the demons.
Yeah, absolutely. And they try and eat them, and they're pissed off because there's no food.
They don't materialize in their mouth.
But also, yeah,
Well, maybe if they don't have enough psychic weight, because you said they have simple nervous systems, maybe they don't attract
Oh, they
demons.
just float through like
Yeah,
nothing.
because
that could be a, yeah,
That
it's
could be a
worth
thing.
it.
the demons
Yeah.
only attack because they sense the
Sentience.
psychic presence of
Yeah.
things,
It
right?
very well could be that.
And yeah, there's just no the risk to reward ratio wouldn't be there to attack 100 of these fucking things. Like,
Yeah, what does it really give you?
yeah,
Yeah, they probably have zero soul energy. Or
So
little.
small
So
that
little,
it's
it's
not
not
worth
worth it.
Yeah.
but 10 light years, that's pretty fucking far.
So the closest star to us is over 4.
yeah,
So they can definitely hop from star to star, following like
And they can exist in space too?
no, just
Through the
like,
warp.
Every star is gonna have some kind of satellite forming around it, right? Like,
Okay.
So
So they can
it-
exist on any kind of planet?
well, they might be able to, they,
They
might
just appear
not.
on the moon and just like
Yeah, sometimes that like, that's why it says
100 of them. Let's not forget it's 100 of them.
that's why it says they land on potentially beneficial
So
planets.
they might just die when they get
They
there.
might just die. Maybe something happens and they're able to enter the warp again and do another jump. Who knows?
Oh my
Like maybe they
God.
sense the danger. But it was this one picture
That's hilarious.
that I thought was really funny because like if this happens all the time, I just imagined like a bar, like a group of travelers entering a bar, and it's like it's like one of those old westerns, like everyone's keeping to themselves, low murmur. You go up to the table, and all of a sudden, like a klaxon starts going off, and you, who's never been here, you're like, whoa, what's happening? And everyone in the bar just starts like reaching for like these massive fucking guns that they have, and then out of nowhere, these portals open, and crotalids just start jumping and swarming, and these people are just killing all these crotalids, and you're cowering in the corner because you're a coward, right? You have no idea what's happening, and then when it's done, everyone just puts down their gun, goes back to their table. It's a drink, and then a counter on the side of the wall goes from 28 down to 0.
And naturally, a black guy says, "Reset the clock."
Yeah, reset the clock.
Yeah.
I hate that meme.
Well, it's.
I see it all the time.
I've memed now, though.
You did.
Are you
Good
proud?
job. No. Anyways, I loved the.
Oh yeah.
Like, what can you do with this? You can do anything.
You could be totally safe, and all of a sudden, bam, crocodile.
120-foot long crocodile.
Doing this has expanded my view on how I can interact with people as a GM.
You mean fuck with?
I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah.
Fuck on, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I take the Chitlan Cud Bear?
Yes, sir.
The Cathelian?
Let's
Sure.
pull up a picture before we read.
If it was
that?
Cathelian, shouldn't there be an apostrophe
I don't know.
after the C?
I don't know.
All right. It's a walking bear with the head of a bobcat. Okay. Well, all right. The Cud Bear is native to the death world of Cathella. Its thick purple fur is ideal for keeping it safe from the cold and wet of its wooded mountain environment. Its long claws and teeth reinforces its role as a vicious natural predator. Obviously not good at camouflaging.
Doesn't need it.
Doesn't
No,
need it.
it camouflages
To the purple snow.
No, as a children's dinosaur,
It's just the
Lures
atmosphere of
into
the
it.
planet.
and it slaughters everybody.
The atmosphere of the planet changes the way the light
That's
spectrum
right.
is.
It's not actually
Yes,
purple.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Yes.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
All right. So the Cathelian Cud Bear is extremely dangerous and territorial and has been known to attack large groups of heavily armed people who wander near its home.
That's nice.
Yeah, they're not scared of much, these guys.
Yeah,
they're
they're
more
just-
than willing to fight.
Super highly aggressive bobcat bears that are purple.
The
Like-
purple part is what gets me.
So like reading through these once again, like it was a very informal book, The Rogue Trader. So some of the design notes were like, for the next example, we're reading about dinosaurs. They're like, this is a great creature to introduce because it's so cheap and you can get it from a dollar store and boom, you have an animal. I like to think that the Cathelian Cud Bear came about because the guy let their daughter paint a bear. So naturally the daughter paints it purple.
And he's like, all right, now I have
All
a
right.
purple bear.
Yeah.
It's a Cathelian Cud Bear.
It's canon.
It's canon now. Yeah, like it was very informal and like thinking how they came up with some of these fucking things. Like,
It was pretty wild.
yeah. I guarantee that's what it is. I'm putting my life savings down on it.
$7
Yeah,
is a
I was
lot of
going to
money.
say, I'll match that. Like,
Oh.
all right, so the next one we have is dinosaur. So actually in the book, in the Rogue Trader book, they've categorized 3 different sizes of dinosaurs, and it ranges from like the size of cats to beasts over 30 meters long. And it just seems that this title is a catch-all.
Yeah.
It's not giving us a description of a specific creature or anything. So a dinosaur is any reptilian creature that isn't categorized.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Science might argue with that definition, but okay.
Well, xenologists don't.
Okay.
Xenozoologists, actually.
so any creature that you didn't know what it was,
You
as
just
long as it
call it
was
a dinosaur.
reptilian, it would
Yeah.
be a dinosaur. And that's like how you could make any dinosaur you wanted. Like they didn't want to like shoehorn you into saying like you had to, like this is how all dinosaurs looked, right? They
Yeah.
were just saying, hey, get a reptile, it's
to
a
a
dinosaur.
dinosaur, buy a
Yeah,
reptile.
honestly. It goes back to the informality of this book.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very much a build your own game.
Yeah.
Side note here real quick too. The elder exodites are, and I'm not personally a huge fan of this, but they're often depicted riding dinosaurs,
Yeah.
which I guess it means, and I hate to use the term dinosaur, but obviously now it's a canon term, but
Well, this can be argued. It's Rogue Trader.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. But just the fact that they're so ubiquitous that like an exodite world. On this planet, they're riding animals. On this planet, they're riding... Because like, I'd like to think there's more variety in the exodite.
Yeah.
Like they could be riding giant crabs from whatever planet. Or
Yeah,
riding
definitely.
whatever. They don't even have to ride animals, in my opinion.
I like to think that they do just because it
Well, at the very least, they live with animals because it's
Yeah.
part of an
Sure,
ecology.
yeah.
They either farm them or use them for eggs or meat or
And
milk or
like,
whatever.
Exodites were very much wood elves, so it's kind of that whole...
They definitely
I know.
jive
I
with
definitely get
nature.
it, but I'm just saying there can't be dinosaurs on every
No, I
planet.
agree with that. Yeah.
Or maybe they are. Maybe there's just a bunch of reptiles on every planet.
Maybe they're so common that they don't even bother naming them anymore. They're just like,
It's a
that's a
dinosaur."
dinosaur. Every planet's got a dinosaur. That's 40K. They're least
As long as
dangerous.
it's not a goddamn fucking crocodile.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
everyone's
we're
fine.
safe. We're safe. But wait, they might appear.
Oh God, no.
We're not safe. The threat of the crocodile exists. All right. The next one we have is the pharaoh beast. So native to the planet Yimbo Bim.
There's nothing funny.
I
about
like that one.
Pharaoh beasts resemble 2-meter-long armadillos with tough shells, spikes on their edges. Their mouths are covered by short tentacles, which are covered in suckers that secrete an acidic syrup.
That is a scientific term too. Suckers.
The suckers, yeah. It makes me think of like a octopus's sucker.
Suction cup?
Makes me think of those. So this syrup turns metal ores, specifically ferro ore, into a liquid digestible soup, which they then eat.
Delightful.
They eat metal.
Yeah, after turning it into
Nice.
soup. That's why they're called pharaoh beasts.
Their nose is complex and uniquely attuned to smell metal ores over vast distances. The more pure or refined the metal is, the farther away the beast can smell it. Once they have the scent in their nostrils, these normally placid and docile creatures become rampaging beasts. They're heedless of danger and willing to trample anything in their way to get to their food source.
Which is very cool. Like, you land with your ship, you better take off right away.
You just get swarmed by these fucking things and just start...
But it takes a while to get there. So you get off your ship. You're just kind of like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
yeah.
a nice, peaceful planet. You
Yeah,
wander
and
away
then
from your ship.
You
a
hear
little
like
bit.
trumpeting coming from all directions.
Well, if you were, these couldn't be domesticated because if they tried to get them off world,
They
they'd
just
eat the
eat.
ship.
Yeah. Maybe you could tranquilize them for the duration or put them in
I'm
stasis.
not
or
saying they
whatever.
haven't tried. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. But yeah, these things are pretty cool. I like the whole like placidity. Like they're very dormant creatures until like food.
Well, how active can you be if you're eating metal all day? You just eat like a fork.
Hey, we eat iron. It's
You
there.
eat
In
iron.
very trace amounts.
Sure.
You eat iron.
People do.
Do you want me to give
I
you
personally
an
avoid
iron
it.
bar for dinner?
I heard you like iron, Christian. So for the next 2 years, here's your dinner.
Just a bunch of scrap metal from a car.
I'm just giving a bunch of coins.
Yeah. Have
Ooh,
fun.
copper.
That's
So
the
delicious.
That's the tasty
Oh, we're gonna
one.
get an email about that.
Oh, it's gross. That's why. Thank God I don't have those headphones on. It's honestly so disturbing.
That's the sound the pharaoh beast makes.
No, it's not.
It's canon. Everything Mark says is canon.
Cow goes
GW sent me
moo,
an
Pharaoh
email.
Beast goes.
So when you're looking at these pictures, you can clearly tell like old pictures and new ones. What do you guys think is an old Rogue Trader picture?
The one on the right.
No, please, son of a bitch, Eric.
I'm in.
No, you're not.
Is it just the style of drawing?
Yeah,
that
like it's very
distinguishes?
much like I don't know. It just looks.
A rough sketch that's
Yeah.
been blown up digitally but not refined, so it just looks pixelated.
It even in the books looks like that, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like in the book.
No pixels, even pixels. I mean, they drew the pixels on.
Exactly.
It's a weird art
10 out of
style.
10. Perfect representation.
But yeah, and you can see how like over the time too, like some of them have definitely changed. So the picture on the right, it's the same creature, but somehow has a satellite on his tail.
I think it's just a spike.
Yes, that makes more sense. But
All right.
Cool.
Next, we have gene stealers.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So gene stealers were first introduced in this book, but they have drastically changed since. So in this edition, this 1987 edition, they had no connection to the Tyranid race whatsoever. So we're actually not going to include this entry.
This one has changed so much that there's no point. But there is a lot of similarities, like they still
in how they procreate and
yeah,
everything.
there's still all that kind of stuff. But the main difference is there was no brood mind. They weren't connected to Tyranids. And
Yeah, I liked that. I kind of wish they were their own thing, but
Yeah?
that's just me. I know that's a controversial opinion.
You're
It's
allowed
very
to have it.
controversial. No,
I
I'm not
really
gonna allow
like
it.
the way they look here. They just look so alien.
Yeah.
That's good though. I like that. That's
Yeah.
more interesting to me. And I like just being a sub version of Tyranids. I know it is cool the way they did it. I'm not like
The precursor
yeah,
to the Tyranid
and
invasion.
the fact that they're just all gonna get eaten at the end. It's like that's pretty dark. But like I don't know, just that if it was a totally unique faction with its own kind of thing going on, that'd be more interesting.
Yeah, but then it
to
would
me.
be another Xenos faction, and Games Workshop doesn't like that.
Yeah, they
It
have
is
an upper
another
limit.
Xenos faction.
No, shh.
All right. Moving on
All right.
to giant insectoids.
So, just like the dinosaur
Oh.
category,
I don't like that image.
Wouldn't put that in my butt.
Well,
There it is.
yeah.
so just like the
How big
dinosaur
is it?
category,
We'll
these
get to it.
giant insectoids cover a vast number of creatures, and there's just they share a couple common traits, and when they have these things, then they're categorized as
Yeah.
giant insectoids. So they have to be cold-blooded, exoskeleton, multiple limbs, and tiny brains. And then as well, to be a giant insectoid, they have to be at least over a meter long.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're big.
But this can
You'll
be
get it in
this
there.
can be anything. This
I
can be
believe in you.
giant moths, giant ants, giant
Whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Whatever an insect you can think of. Oh, yeah.
That looks like
Giant.
in 2013 Austin Mangler from Deviant, the planet Deviant Art.
.com.
Yeah, but that's just the giant insectoid. It's more of a category.
Yeah.
It's a catch-all.
Yeah.
It's not describing any one thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then giant spiders is another category. So they're just used for any spider more than 1 meter long that can also spin web.
I really don't like spiders.
Uh,
I don't like big ones, especially.
Yeah.
I live in Canada. Our biggest spider is like my thumb nail.
Yeah.
My thumb nail
Yeah.
big.
So while they don't all have to use web in the same way, you have to be able to spin it to be a giant spider, to be categorized as one.
You have to be able to spin the bug.
Yeah, spin the web.
Oh.
Put it to the next image. Get that off there. I
Are
don't
you
like
actually
it.
that sensitive to it?
I don't like it. Look how.
Uh-oh,
Oh my god.
computer froze.
It's stuck. Oh
Can't do
god.
anything.
How do you watch Lord of the Rings?
He closes
With
his
my eyes closed, obviously.
No, Sheila, no. Go back in your hole.
Caught in a web, he'll soon be eaten. No.
Don't
No
do
webs.
that.
Oh, the moment where like the stinger comes out and it's like dripping like fluids. Does that
You
get
like that?
I think it's done really well.
No, but do you like that?
No, I'm not James.
Okay, up next we got the Grox, the noble Grox.
Is that actually an image?
It's so blown up.
I know. I tried to find.
There's
many
got to
pic-
be lots of Grox pictures.
No, like there's only two. So there's this one, and then there's the original like
Grok.
black and white sketch one. And when I tried to blow that one up, you thought the fucking face flop eater was.
No, he thought the
All of them. They're all
Pharaoh
bad.
beast.
they're all bad. They're all
Pharaoh
equally
beast.
bad.
Yeah.
Look,
It's old. I don't even know if you'd be able to find that book original.
the Todd has
Oh,
one.
really?
I don't think he does, but I know his group does, and yeah,
That's
it's pretty,
impressive.
It's pretty cool, and it's in good condition too. It's
Wow.
nice. Yeah.
Must be worth
We should
at
steal
least
it.
$20.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to steal it from them? We have to
yeah.
give him his dice anyway. So
I gave it to him today. Actually,
you missed opportunity.
he came here.
I'll tell him that I have one more dice to give him.
Oh, Todd, get in contact with us, and we can set up a meetup away from your home. And,
Yeah, bring the book for an unrelated reason.
yeah.
We just want to look at it.
I
Anyways,
think we got him.
a Grox. So a large reptilian creature native to the Solomon system. Once discovered, Grox were quickly absorbed into Imperium agriculture and exported to many worlds. They
They love.
We gotta share. We gotta share.
They love
this.
it.
This is a good one.
They are quadrupeds with a massive body, short legs, a stubby tail, and a horned and spiky face. An adult grox is on average 5 meters long, fast, well-muscled, and aggressive.
You know what would have been a fun game? If we didn't put the numbers of how big they were in here.
Yeah.
And then let these two guess how big it was. Because 5 meters is fucking huge.
5 meters.
Like, I was picturing it originally, like, yeah, size of a cow.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Not 5 meters.
No.
My God. They're huge.
How big is an elephant? Is an elephant 5 meters long? I don't know.
We're Googling.
I have a weird feeling that it's actually.
But length. Okay, so when I was reading about pumas today,
Yes.
of course, yeah, like the length is
It's
like
Puma Thursday. Of course.
Yeah,
it'd
of
be
course it
reading
is.
about Puma.
Except it's Saturday, but yes.
Okay, an Asian elephant is 5.5 to 6.5 meters on average. So they're the size of an elephant.
Wait, hold on. That's exactly the point I'm going to dispute here. Length and width
And height are
and
all.
height are different dimensions
Yes.
for animals.
What?
Because okay, wait,
they
oh my
are.
God. Hear me out. The
But
puma, the noble puma,
Is the noble puma
is like 7 feet long if you measure it from tip of the tail to
Yeah.
snout.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sounds huge, but pumas are
7
relatively.
That's not that big.
Well, I mean, it's
2
if I
meters,
described a
2 and
cat
bit.
that was 7 feet long, you would kind of freak
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But like a puma, like I
Well,
could
it's
take
not
a
in my
puma.
house.
I could fight.
But if a fucking puma
What?
was
We're gonna let that.
wow, you're gonna just
I could
fight
take a puma.
Okay, I'm changing my bet. I'm taking back my $7 and I'm now putting it on Christian that you cannot beat Puma. I'll even lower it and I'll say you couldn't even beat the Potato King in a fight. I can't.
Yeah, Leo.
Yeah, I don't even think you could beat him up.
What's his allergies? That's not his fault.
that cat's crazy.
He would say like, I drank too much juice.
the Jews?
But anyways, my point is how you measure the animal.
Yeah, sure.
right?
But
So-
these do have a massive body. Like,
yeah, nothing
yeah,
about
It looks
it
like a
small.
truck. Essentially, it looks like a truck.
with horns in the mouth. And
Yeah. A scary, angry, muscled
Oh no, it looks like a monster truck then. Like what was that? They had,
Undertaker back from retirement.
but they had like a T-Rex or not a T-Rex one. The truck.
Grave digger back from retirement. That's all I know.
Triceratops.
Yeah, what the?
You mix up the T-Rex with the Triceratops.
You fool.
I've been learning from
Don't you
40
know your dinos?
No, I've been learning from 40K where all dinosaurs are the
Dinotheology.
same.
Don't you know you can beat a puma? Don't you know?
Christian can
Don't
beat
you
a
know
puma.
that length?
Christian can. I can probably beat two.
Don't you know that length, width, and height are different
in
our-
animals, specifically
In
in animals.
animals.
What about
Yeah.
volume? Do we account volume?
No, we
of
don't.
Creature.
I measure in
Density.
horse hands.
If
I
you
measure in hands.
Blend a Grox. What's the volume
Yeah,
of
yeah.
a Grox?
Jeez.
Will it
just
blend? Can you do this
Can you
episode?
deep fry it? Yes. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Can You Deep Fry It, where we try and deep fry everything. Today we have a puma that Christian has killed
In single combat.
in single
With his bare
combat.
hands. I did not use a knife.
With his bare hands. Show them your bare hands, Christian.
And you got those bare hands from a bear, didn't
That
you?
you also
That I
killed with your bare
My
hands.
bare hands killed with bare hands.
Interesting.
All right. Back to Grox.
That was a digression right there.
You
I
can't-
digress.
You can't say something like I can fight a puma and not digress.
I can fight. Guys, I can fight a puma.
Guys, they're 7 feet long, but like that's an illusion. Trust me. I can get
It's not actually that long.
It's all in the tail.
Look, that's not the width of the animal, okay? The width is way more important when you're measuring them.
God damn.
Anyways. So, 5 meters long, fast, well-muscled, and aggressive. So,
Perfect domestication
not
animal.
good for domestication.
Oh.
So, that all changed when the groks were found to be extremely palatable and nutritious. So,
Nutrients.
adding to their usefulness, they survive on any food and are even capable of subsisting on bare rocks alone for weeks at a time. So, you have this animal whose temperament is wretched and terrible and absolutely trash.
But they're so tasty.
But they taste delicious
And
and
they're
they're
good for
good
me.
for you, and they don't require a lot of taking care of because they can live on rocks for weeks at a time, right? So they're really easy to manage. So how do you marry these two things. You don't. You kill one, and then you
Oh.
just deal with the other. So what happened? In order to farm this noble creature,
Oh.
the Imperium did what it does best. They lobotomized the majority of the herds.
There it is.
As well as used chemical sterilizers and even small electro implants to make sure the naturally aggressive groks were docile.
They turned
Not-
them into cows.
Not as bad as
Chemically.
genocide, but still pretty-
Almost.
Still not ideal.
No, not good for the groks.
No.
This noblest of
No.
creatures.
Even in their
Sad.
docile state,
very sad.
risk still exists, and so they're normally kept far from human settlements.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're just so big and like just they trample and destroy things. You know, how do you contain one of those?
Yeah, once
Look
like
at the horns.
if they start a rampage, right?
Yeah,
how
like-
do you
yeah.
They probably can like stampede and still, yeah.
Yeah, like just imagine 50 of these things just running around destroying things. So yeah, they usually keep them far away from anything valuable.
Yeah. Or it's like on an agri world where there are no settlements. It's literally like an entire area just given over to the growing of these groks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and crawlers, of course.
Yeah, crawler farming.
I like how in 40K, like the most delicious animal are like lizards,
Is it?
like a type of lizard.
I've never had lizard before, so I
Right?
don't know
That's
if
what I'm
true or
saying.
not.
I'm just saying.
Maybe
like,
it's true.
we like to use
Maybe iguana is like
delicious.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. So
Time to
cows
buy an
everywhere.
iguana?
Oh,
I would try lizard.
I'd try
So
lizard
time to
too.
buy an iguana.
No, I don't want you to prepare a lizard for me.
You can eat alligator too.
Yeah,
they
no,
eat it
I would
in-
try any of those.
Sure, I'd eat an alligator.
Well, I could beat it with my bare hands, and then
Oh,
I'll.
sure.
Well,
Trust me, it's only
They
it's
say
7 meters long.
They
but
say, but that's not the right way
I
to
can eat it.
measure.
I could take
the
it.
width is the.
Is a real killer.
Do you want to do gyrinx, James?
Oh yeah, I do.
Is that how you just?
Maybe
I always
Chris
call
should
him-
do it since he's our local cat
Ah,
expert.
yes,
I
absolutely.
like to be called the cat killer. First of all,
The cat man.
and I could take a grinks in single combat.
A grinx?
Do you call it grinks or drinks?
Gyrinx. Gyrinx.
James, as the resident linguist, how would you say it?
It's the resident linguist.
Mhm.
I can't even speak.
Those are words.
Grinks, I don't know. That's what I would
You would say grinx?
I've always called it a grinks.
It's GYR.
I don't think it matters.
Gearings? I don't know.
I've never
Gearings?
said one word right. And just let's
What'd
do
you,
I think
past
it-
it.
what'd you call it? Gyrinx?
I would have said gyrinx or gyrix.
Okay.
You
Alright.
just like
I'll call it
'cause
gyrinx
sounds like
just for you.
gyrate.
Oh, it doesn't bother me. I'm just curious why you get there, how you get there.
You just like it because it sounds like gyrate.
A little bit.
That's right. I know.
Alright. These are large cats growing up to a meter in length. They normally have thick ginger or orange.
How
colored
wide
fur.
is that?
Well, you can't tell by these measurements.
Sorry.
It's poofy. It looks poofy too. So
Yeah, it's an illusion.
Is that long hair or is that just girth and short
That's a
hair?
Cathelian short hair, actually.
They normally have thick ginger or orange colored fur and bright blue eyes.
But there are different variations.
Yes, you could potentially find.
Yeah, I'm sure like
anything.
cats.
Like
how it's-
exotic
yes.
ones too, like blue fur.
purple.
Yeah, or maybe even
Purple,
like
yeah.
glowing or iridescent or like it changes under different
You
lights.
can only
like,
see
who
it in the
knows?
ultraviolet spectrum.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Like these things are they feel very unnatural, but they are natural creatures. Anyways, you'll see as we keep going.
They're not intelligent by our standards, but they have an uncanny ability to empathize and form close bonds with their partners, replicating true friendship. Being in close proximity to your grinks calms you, clarifying your mind and increasing your mental acuity. The relationship also has a potent effect on psychic beings, enhancing their ability. Interestingly enough, gyrinx also show a change of behavior to match the disposition of their partner.
is there a model that came out?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Your
Okay.
brain.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
thinking of it.
Okay. Cool. Very cool.
There's
Very cool, Kanye.
they're
Very
also in like the
Excellent choice for model. Thank you.
old, in the old.
We got a bunch of messages saying that you do need to do a President Trump listener lore.
Oh my
read.
God.
Can you do that for a whole episode?
I don't know. That's a lot.
Whatever we write, it will multiply it so much.
Yeah, because I have to throw in like okay.
ask
like at the end of
everybody.
each sentence.
Ask everybody.
It takes so long.
Anyways,
It is not certain what benefit the Gyrinx gains from his relationship, but they have been observed to seek out a partner. It seems they feel a need to form a bond with some other creature.
Mm-hmm.
So not at all like house cats, who will ignore you.
No,
And you feel no love or friendship from them. You know you're just there to feed them.
Yeah. They rub on you because they're like, yes, this is the food container thing. This thing brings me food and occasionally scratches my head when I want it.
It's kind of cool that they still add in elements from the game that are this old.
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
No, it's always
'cause
cool.
That model isn't that old, is it?
No, it's
No.
That's
very
brand
new.
It
Maybe
existed
3
in the
years?
artwork too. I was going to mention the old Eldar artwork. They'd always have
Yeah,
grasses
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
pretty dominant. Thing.
I wish they'd add more of them. That'd be even cooler if they
Yeah.
were just running around.
No,
doing
it's
Eldar
very
stuff.
cool because there's a lot of things in this book that I was wondering, like, does it exist in the book? Does it still exist now? And it's fun to see how it has changed
Sure.
when it was first released to what we know it is.
Well,
now.
and the amble too. That's something cool
Yeah.
that they brought back from like way back. That's cool.
Yeah.
I just know I could fight a Gyrinx.
Or an amble. You probably could be one of those too. They're only
you
like,
wouldn't
what?
be able to. You'd fall in love immediately with it.
Those big blue eyes.
Yeah, but yeah,
There's a couple things to note. One thing is like they will choose you just as much as you choose them.
yeah, and if you try and like put your ownership on it, they've been known to escape and find someone else that they choose.
Yeah.
So they might, even if you
Try to-
say you try and have one for in like an ownership capacity,
Yeah.
they might just not form that bond with you.
Yeah. If they
Question.
don't want to. Yeah.
Question: would a Space Marine librarian keep one around?
Answer. Yes.
Nice. Why not? Kind of thing.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
can
one of
see it, for
yeah,
sure.
it's one of those things like, hey, is this sanctioned by the Adeptus Astartes and the Administratum Astartes? Maybe not.
But
I don't
why
even think it
wouldn't
would
it wouldn't be
matter,
Xenos.
It's
right?
just Xenos, right? Like,
Well,
Would it be
But look,
thought
an
of as
animal, though,
Xenos?
it's like-
Yeah,
I know.
They
not-
distribute
I know.
like Groks
yeah,
everywhere.
but it's a
They have
psychic
horses,
but it's a psychic thing.
but it's not.
Well, then what's the point of attaching it specifically to librarians?
Well,
because
okay,
it does
so-
enhance
so-
psychic ability.
Yeah. So here's the next thing. We're not sure how it enhances the psychic abilities. Me and Eric have two different views, as is tradition.
Naturally.
Eric, you want to tell your view?
Well, there's the one I mainly went for is that it actually increases your ability to use psychic powers, like whether you gain a more understanding of the warp, or it allows you to draw in more power than you normally do, or it gives you some secret knowledge so you can manifest things ways you never could before. But
Yeah.
this power comes from the Gyrinx. It's also described in the book that and this is tabletop. This is like their description of how it would work on the table. But it says that the Psyker with a Gyrinx can actually tap into the Gyrinx and use it as a power source for its own psychic ability.
Yeah.
So that's pure tabletop, but there might be some translation.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of one way we were thinking about it.
Yeah.
well, you were thinking about it.
No,
there's
Mark's
other-
is different. Mark's how Mark viewed it was very different.
Yeah, so the way I view it happening is more like, so we talk about how they form a close bond, and then they calm and ease the creature that they bond with, and they increase like their mental clarity and all that kind of stuff.
So then that
Mark
naturally
sounded more
leads
like a
to-
buffer almost, like a
No, no.
like
Well,
a protection.
almost no. It
No,
sounds
no, no, like
you're like in a state where you have more control over your
Yeah,
mind.
you're still the
yeah,
one
would
doing it.
protect you.
But it has nothing.
It's not like
It's not a protective
actively
thing,
doing anything.
but it's like if
it's a passive ability
You
versus
can
an
reach
active
this
ability.
state though without a Gyrinx, I would think. Like if you are calm of mind
And like trained enough.
goose frobad enough, you can reach that state just as well. It's just when that creature's around, you don't have to like focus on reaching it. You're just already in that calm state.
allows you to do other things and focus on other
Yeah.
things without that being that
Yeah,
calm and protected.
But it by no means is like a psychic thing that, in my opinion.
Yes, yeah, this
In
is
my
the
opinion,
difference, is
sorry.
that this is not like it just enhances, it just happens to enhance your psychic ability, whereas mine is directly tied. Like this is a psychic creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there are such examples of psychic creatures too. Let's go back to the
the
noble
famous-
the noble crocodile.
No, for sure. But yes, yours is like it will give this clarity of mind to anyone it's around,
Yeah.
but it just offers psychers a different ability to work with.
Yeah.
Whereas mine is like, it doesn't really do anything to you unless you're a psyker.
Where like this thing would be just as useful in my mind for
An
architect
ambassador.
or an ambassador or
Yeah.
whatever, you know. But
Anyone who really needs
So-
a clarity
A
or
surgeon.
calmness of mind.
they do show up quite a bit in the lore. I was trying today to find some more information on them, and I could not.
Is it mainly like described only in this book?
As far as I could tell, like
Very cool.
They've mentioned it, like you can read Yvrane's profile, but they don't tell you the mechanics of it, you know, or like how in the lore in the universe
Sure.
it works. They will tell you like game mechanics, but
Yeah.
so yeah, if you know anything more about this, email us. I'm genuinely curious to prove that I'm right. And Eric's a dumb bitch. No,
It was
no.
obviously the default state of the opposing argument.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
no,
I like it.
I'm curious to see like how it actually works.
I think it'd be cool too. Like you can paint your little cat in any color you want
Yeah.
because it's a weird space cat. Cool. Do you want me to take the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. Horse. It's a horse in space.
In where?
In space.
Like, does it fly around in space?
That's what the notes say. That's what I'm gonna go with. It flies. It gallops through the stars.
Yeah, this is just a horse. Like
Not in space.
Not in
Let's
space.
clarify.
Yeah.
But it's a space horse.
It's a horse.
Yeah, literally their description in this book is just talking about like, ooh, some horses are small and some horses are big.
Oh.
It was like, oh, what length are they? You know, what's their width?
Now, when you measure a horse for the length, do you
You have to
raise
pull the
its
tail. Yeah, you have to pull
Is
it
that
taut.
standard practice?
Pull it taut.
Yeah.
Careful not to
And
get
then
kicked,
stretch
though.
its neck out too.
Yeah, it's
Flat.
What is standard horse measuring practice? Also, email us about
Don't they-
that. I'm genuinely
Aren't
They
horses
measure to the
measured in
shoulder.
hands? They're measured in hands too, though.
To the shoulder,
yeah.
not to the top of the head. So it does change. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Horses are different.
Horses are a totally different creature altogether. You can't handle them like
the
you handle
majestic horse.
they're almost like unicorns, you know? They're so mystical and like fable.
Do they even exist?
I don't know. I've never seen
seen a
one.
horse.
Yeah, the Krieg seem to pump them out though.
One thing I do want to point out about the Krieg horse, as you can
Specifically
see
a
in the
Krieg
chart
horse.
up here, is that they're genetically.
It's a cat,
It acts like a horse.
but it's actually.
But they have genetically modified horses that have split toes, which is different.
A cloven hoof, hey?
Yeah.
Allows them to climb all those trenches better.
No, it's exactly what a cloven hoof does.
Well, there you go. Then it all explains itself.
That's why like all ungulates here have like cloven hooves. They're
That's
all
definitely made up word.
Actually, I love that word. I like to call people ungulates. Yeah, they don't know what it
They
means.
have no idea what it means.
You stupid ungulate.
But yeah, like because we're really mountainous territory where we live, so all those creatures need the cloven hoof because it's. I mean, I think that's what it was. I don't.
Eric knows goats. If Eric doesn't know anything,
Son of a bitch! I'm
Got him. That was a good one.
all right.
Like that a lot.
Yeah, so there's different variations. You know, you could
Sure.
potentially whatever. That's
Yeah.
fucking
I'm
horse.
sure we'll come across other things in other books
Yeah.
where they describe variations of the horse, like the Krieg horse. At some point, we will talk about, but in this book, it's literally just a regular Earth horse.
Yeah,
And
in
what we-
space.
In space.
And what we need to clarify here is that all horses must be destroyed.
Yes.
What?
The
I don't
Council of Horse Destroying will now come into session.
All in favor?
Aye. It needs to be unanimous, James. Raise
Hey, I will keep
You
the horses
underestimate
alive.
this threat.
You are
James.
now a part of the horses. We will exterminate you with them.
I've
I
grown.
asked them not to do this, James. I said, don't do this. You
Not
did.
to our good friend James. Okay. Lashworms.
Do it up, brother.
Ooh.
So a lashworm
Oh, these are great.
If you don't like spiders,
is
Well, these aren't
a
like
bloody
spiders.
stool-looking thing. A lashworm is native to Death World, Lost Hope, but has been since seen elsewhere.
They tried
Delicious.
to domesticate it.
For reasons unknown.
It wasn't
it's-
delicious or nutritious, but damn, did it have a nice crackle to it when you bit into
Are you
it.
sure that's a lashworm? I don't know if that is.
I don't think it is. The way we describe it in here is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
different.
Okay, so let's describe it. So the lashworm's body is made out of 3 parts. So the body or anchor is the size of a human fist, and it contains all the vital organs, including mouth and stomach. You'll see why those are vital in a second. The lash, up to 5 meters long, is whip-like and saw-edged.
What's its width?
Well, actually, since it's a circular thing, you need to do diameter.
Which would be the width?
No, that would be. That's right.
But you gotta use the correct word.
You know what? That's sure, but that's more matters for volume, wouldn't it? Diameter matters for volume. No.
Area.
So the second
You would
part
know
of
if
the
you were
lash
stupid.
whip.
Area and volume. It would matter.
Ungulates.
Anyways, so the lash is it's whip-like, saw-edged, and it is normally tightly wound up and concealed. And then the trigger is on the top of the lash, or the tip of it, and it's the only portion normally visible of the lashworm. So it resembles a bundle of lichen or very fine plant growth, but it's actually a hypersensitive sensory organ. So imagine there's a crack in a cliff face, and all you see is just this lichen on the outside, maybe blowing in the breeze or whatever. And in the crack will be the body or the anchor, and then also the lash, which is tightly wound up. Okay, so it makes its home in cracks and crevices, bundling itself up no larger than a fish. And this thing, you got to remember, is 5 meters long.
I also want to say that a fish is a very weird standard of measurement because
It
fish
is.
come in very different
It is odd.
sizes.
Have you seen
You
that?
measure horses
you
and
seen
heads and lashworm by fish. What aren't you
Have you
getting?
seen that meme where it's like Americans measuring things in strange amounts? It's like, it's 4 shopping carts tall.
They just refuse to use.
It's funny. It's a good meme.
Yeah.
Just laugh at yourselves. We all wear plaid all the time up here. It's a meme.
We all have beards.
We all have beards.
And wear toques indoors.
Yeah.
And they're called toques, not beanies.
And we don't wear pants.
And we wear hoodies.
and we don't have women up here. There's only men.
And we all have a pet beaver.
We all do.
And we ride our
That was
moose.
one I didn't actually know that people around the world didn't have pet beavers. Like, that took me till I was at least 17 before I was like,
Really?
You don't have pet beavers? Like,
Yeah.
anywhere else in the world? And I was like,
How do you build your
that's-
houses? Who cuts
Well,
down wood?
It's a weird thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
digression.
So it makes its home in cracks and crevices, bundling itself up no larger than a fish. When the trigger feels the passing of something or someone within striking distance, because it's super hypersensitive, the lash extends with unerring accuracy. While rarely deadly, chunks of flesh are still ripped from their prey, which are then pulled into the crevice to be consumed by the anchor portion of the body.
That's real nice.
Yep,
Ew.
that's delicious.
Oh.
Don't like
I'm
that.
kind of relieved that it doesn't kill you, actually. This is like one of the first creatures that doesn't just outright kill you.
Yeah, yeah.
You could, you could survive.
The
but
carnivorous
it does
sand,
suck.
The carnivorous sand clam doesn't outright kill you. Like maybe if it gets a leg or an arm, it might crush or break,
Yeah,
but it doesn't always kill you.
sure. Okay.
Oh, good. 40K is not that bad.
And a grox, if it's properly lobotomized and chemically sterilized, then
Should still be kept away from civilization.
right, of
because
course.
it can
Yeah.
stampede
You know
and
what?
kill
You're
everybody.
right. You're right. You got it. But no, you're right. Yeah, this is like a small thing that just wants to.
Rip out your eye.
Yeah.
Rip off your ear.
I mean, it's the size of a fish, right? How bad could it be?
You son of a bitch. You got me. That honestly, in the book, they describe it the size of a fish.
Right. I'm
Like,
not,
yeah, it's not us who put.
Oh, fish.
I-
I thought
I'm
you
not
said
criticizing you.
because I'm like, okay, like
No,
yeah.
no.
That
fish.
weird to
A
measure.
fish.
Right. How big is a goldfish? How big is a freaking
Tuna?
salmon? A tuna? It's huge. A swordfish?
My God, don't even. How
Maybe
do you
that's
measure a
the range.
swordfish?
Maybe it's the range. It's
Width.
saying it could be any size of any fish. So anywhere from a minnow to a great white shark, these things could be.
Oh God.
So it's taking a big chunk if you got the great white one.
You could get lucky. You could just prick your finger.
Yeah.
Or
Ooh,
could take off.
Take your leg.
Little tickle.
Up next, we got the mimic.
The mimic.
Oh, spicy.
Who's gonna read mimic?
They're small ape creatures from the planet Yeah, man. No, I'm just kidding. It's Yamnan.
Yam nan. Yam nan.
Sorry, what was the
That's
first
what
one
I
you said?
said. Yeah, man.
And what was the second one?
Yamnan.
The first one?
I'm not doing it again. They are friendly, inquisitive, and fairly intelligent. They have an unusual survival mechanism where they can shape change to resemble any other creature of comparable size and bulk. They can even change their skin to replicate clothing, though it is obviously fake at close inspection. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Shapeshifter.
So they'll turn themselves into the shape of you, but they stay their same size.
Sure.
They mimic your beard
Well,
there.
I like that because if they just became
Where does the mask come from?
Exactly, that would be the
Right.
funny
that's
thing. Yeah.
that's right. That's
The
why
trick.
it's kind
But
of.
they're
I like
hollow.
I like that they mimic you. So it's like they might mimic something so big, but it'll just be like a tiny little version of it. Like
A tiny little elephant.
Well,
Yeah,
because we were-
exactly.
I was like, what if there's like a space marine walking through the woods, and then all of a sudden, 50 miniature little space marines
Are
start
marching
trotting
behind
around?
him.
Yeah, they march behind him because he's marching, and they mimic
Sure.
it.
Yeah. So they are compulsive in their behavior to mimic too. They even go as far as to attempt to steal the tools that are being used to mimic. They are even copied people's driving.
Yeah, so they see you driving,
vehicles.
so they'll turn themselves into you, get in the car, and start driving.
That's hilarious.
So you're using a hammer. They use a hammer.
Yeah, they try and steal your hammer so they can use it.
That Astartes now. He's missing his bolt gun, and now
That's
one of his
right.
mimic has it, and he's using it.
That's right. Yeah.
Nick sees all the genocide. Now it's genociding.
Oh, how cute.
It's just a little genocide.
It's a little.
Yeah. So the only time mimics get aggressive is if they are prohibited from mimicking. So taking back your tool or your weapon is a surefire way to get a mimic angry.
Yeah, I wonder like how you get rid of them. You just have to like run
You just
fast.
leave.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
they're gonna follow you.
They're
might
with
ju-
you forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're your
like,
little
like what do you actually have
monkey
to do? Like, because
demon.
you'd have to outrun them, lock them away from you, or you'd have to do something, right?
kill them.
Well, maybe they have like a territory that they don't venture beyond,
Maybe,
or a
sure.
nesting
Yeah,
area.
because they have to. I assume that
They still need
they
to
love to
eat
mimic.
and-
Yeah, they still have to do their thing.
Yeah, they still need to live.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just seen it as like a super fucking like, oh god, I gotta mimic it. It's like
It's followed me for years.
it won't stop. It won't stop. It won't stop. Like
It's a mini me. Oh yeah. This is a good one.
take it away.
So the Patera squirrel.
The Patera squirrel.
The Patera squirrel. So cute, furry, and small in its appearance, many have kept them as pets. Another feature of the Patera squirrel is the membrane between the front and back legs, allowing it to glide through the air.
Oh,
Cute.
cute little squirrel.
Pretty sure I've seen one of these things once.
Yeah, yeah.
In
No,
real
I
life.
see them
In
all the
real
time
life,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Patera squirrels are docile animals
That's why you'd want them for a pet.
until they aren't.
Oh shit.
Yeah. At some point.
Too late. I just distributed them across the galaxy. What do I do now?
I thought we wanted.
No.
Someone just mistakenly checked the box. Like someone has a list of all these animals, and they accidentally checked the box that checks all of them for imperial distribution.
Oh no.
So they're like, it's just a messed up order that all of these got sent across. Anyways, so at some point, a generation of Patera squirrels is born that are savage carnivores. They then begin a cycle of blood drinking for many generations until they bear cute and cuddly Patera squirrels again. And then it just stops. They just go back to their cute, furry, cuddly selves.
That's terrifying. Because you just have this.
And
this
there's
is my
no
pet.
rhyme or
She's
reason.
so cute. Oh, look at her. And then has a baby, and oh my god, it's eating me.
And there's no like set cycle for this, apparently. There's no way to predict it.
No trigger mechanism.
Yeah, it just happens at some point.
Just have regular squirrels, and all of a sudden they're not regular squirrels no
Yeah,
more.
we could be in the longest generation cycle of Patera squirrels.
Yeah, we've never seen their carnivorous cycle
Oh
yet.
my god.
So let's add them to the list.
The list.
along with
Horses and Patera squirrels.
and squirrels. So saith Lorehammer.
Few things are as terrifying as being caught in a flock of cute, cuddly, bloodthirsty, flying Patera squirrels.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Up next, we got the razor wing. So this is another catch-all term from the Rogue Trader book. The razor wing is synonymous with bird-like creatures no more than 3 feet long, with carnivorous appetites and sharpened, serrated edges on their wings.
Yeah, so they described like 3 or 4 different species even in the book about this. So it is a catch-all. It's not. There's not a single specific razor wing. It's just like, oh, it's a bird with a sharp edge. It's a razor wing.
Yeah. Bird with the goddamn sharp-edged birds.
We need a word for it. Razor wings.
They will form flocks that do not attack other flocks in similar characteristics.
Yeah, so even though if they're different species, like they won't attack each other, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's too costly. The great board wars of 05.
That's
were
right.
too
They
much.
learned their lesson.
Oh, God. Okay.
All right, rippy fish. So a small fish.
Oh my God. I don't like that.
A small fish not larger than 30 centimeters. These extremely
So now they decide to be precise with the measurements.
fish size.
Yeah.
Now I guess we know what fish size is. 30.
30 centimeters.
Well, that's a small fish.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
They put the small in there.
So these are extremely vicious and uncompromisingly carnivorous and fearless. So rippy fish are native to the death world Lost Hope.
Swimming
That's
in
the same as that other one.
Do not trust a hope. It
That
has
was
been
the worm,
lost on
wasn't
this
it?
planet.
Yeah,
There has been
the
another
other one
Lost Hope.
was-
There's been one more.
Let me introduce you
It's
to
the lashworm.
Control
Of
F.
course, of course.
So
Control
rippy
F
fish.
you.
Nice.
I have no comeback. I just
That's really good. Hot damn.
So rippy fish swim in shoals of potentially thousands of fish, and they can be found in salt or fresh water. They
That's
are
nice.
immune to most poisons, and even extreme temperatures or pollution levels can't deter them or kill them off.
At least I'm safe on land, right?
That's right, absolutely.
Okay, good. I thought 40K was going to get me. For once, I actually am safe
Crocodile.
on land.
Crawlers, bouncers.
No!
Mimics.
They're mimicking the violence of all the other animals.
So due to the size of the shoal, it is almost impossible to fight against this creature. Instead, your only hope is to run away to land where they can't get you.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now we have, this was a good image.
The swarm. Just a person covered in bugs.
Yeah.
Ew.
So a swarm is any unidentified creatures that congregate together. They can be called swarms. So the Rogue Trader books lists like insects, rodents, birds, or even fish.
Yeah,
So-
even fish swarm.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's another just
They-
catch-all.
yeah,
This
they
is
don't-
just them describing like, hey, this is how a creature who acts as a swarm would
Yeah.
act on tabletop.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. And the last of the creatures in the book is called the sunworm.
So sunworms are native to Luther McIntyre.
It's a turd.
Friggin' Irish planet is the worst. Bring me to Lost Hope. I don't want to be here anymore.
So this death world is mainly comprised of desert and extreme heat. We've shared that before. So sunworms are large, fat, and somewhat oily maggots with no eyes. They can be anywhere from 30 to 180 centimeters long. That's almost 6 feet.
That's nice.
Giant 6-foot maggot.
Oily maggot.
Disgusting.
Fat, oily maggot.
Look at the teeth, too. Look at the fangs.
Even though the planet they are on is known for its unbearable heat, the sunworm sits in the direct sunlight all day, absorbing heat and converting it presumably to energy. Should anything or anyone touch the sunworm, it will zap the offender with an electric shock.
Nice.
So it's just like a defense
Yeah.
mechanism. Because it doesn't sound like they eat or anything like
Yeah.
that. It just,
Absorb sunlight.
yeah.
I'm sure the shock, too, is like deadly.
Oh, I'm absolutely.
And I'm sure the way to farm these is to farm the shock somehow.
Yeah.
They just come up with like batteries.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of like metal prods everywhere around them, and they're
Yeah.
just pulling the energy off them. They are peaceful creatures who will only defend
Peaceful
themselves.
creatures.
Yeah.
Spreading the good news of the sun god.
All hail sun god.
So they will only defend themselves when provoked, but their first defensive instinct is to hide under a rock until the danger is past and they can resume absorbing the sun.
That's nice. So yeah, out of all those creatures, what do you like the most and what are you most afraid of?
I'm definitely most afraid of the crotolid.
Sure. Of course.
Because it could come from anywhere at any time.
Even if it couldn't come from anywhere, it's still pretty fucking
still,
terrifying.
yes. And then you add in the fact that it can just... a warp portal can open in my body, and a crotolid could emerge from it. Like, that's not a good time.
Yeah.
That's how you can just kill people in your D&D campaign. A crotolid emerges from your body.
Like, just imagine...
crotolids fall, everyone dies.
Like, just imagine, like, you're like, okay, I have a percentage that I give to crotolid invasion, and I'm going to roll for that at the beginning of every game, and there's going to be a time I hit it, and then the game is going to get derailed because crotolids are going to appear. Like, I love that extra
sure.
flavor
on a 1% roll.
Absolutely.
Every time you do something, a crotolid might appear.
Absolutely. A crotolid swarm.
100 of them.
Yeah. Anyways, I think the crotolid is the scariest.
Sure. Spider for
The
you.
spiders.
Giant spiders,
I don't
yeah.
like giant spiders.
I'm gonna go with the Cetacean Devil Train.
Yeah, I think that would be...
Yeah, because most of these things you could escape or just stay away from. You
Yeah.
see it, you can back away.
fucking crotolid.
What about
Okay,
the face eater?
but okay, hold on, hear me out.
That's the coolest one.
Yeah.
But even with the face eater, 8 feet is like fairly close. I'm just not gonna go buy any hanging towels that I find in nature.
Yeah.
You know?
In a hive city where there's hanging towels,
Well, just stay the hell away from them. Do not go do laundry outside. Basic survival
just burn
instincts.
everything as you pass it, just in case.
I will argue that the crotolid too. Like, okay, think about it this way: 100 of them jumping to another planet through the warp. Like, statistically, the chances. Think how big a planet is. So for them to materialize, if I suddenly spawned 100 crocodiles,
What do you think
on
the
the planet?
statistic chances of you
Whoa, hold on,
meeting
hold on,
a
hold on.
Cetacean devil on Terra? 0.
Okay,
But a crotolid
In
could
M33,
show
they
up.
did try to domesticate the Cetacean devil on Terra.
No, they didn't. But a crotolid.
maybe.
But a
You're
crotolid.
going to have to fact check me in order to fully believe if that's a statement or
But
not.
a crotolid could appear on
Okay,
Terra.
here's
But
the
a
thing.
devil will never
Here's the
appear
thing.
on
Here's
Terra.
the thing, Eric. If I spawned 100 crocodiles on planet Earth right now at any given location, what are the chances one would appear in this room right now?
Sure.
Still higher than a devil.
That's right.
Which is literally 0%.
Yes.
I think I see what you're saying.
Also,
like,
man
If-
is the most dangerous creature.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like once
If you had a crotolid or a devil in front of you, you're saying the devil is worse.
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it will hunt
And,
you,
like,
and it will.
Yes.
And like to
Find
have
you.
devils on your planet as opposed to crotolids, like crotolids, it's like okay,
Avoid the rivers.
I seem to have avoided crocodiles most of my life.
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, these ones aren't
I'd
warp
say- I
jumping.
I see what
Even
you're
the normal
saying.
kind. I've avoided the normal kind most of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I'd agree. Probably the
The Cetacean Devil.
Yeah, like-
Anything I can't kill with my own hands is what really.
which is very few things.
Very
mind
few
you.
things
Very
can I not
few
kill with my own 2 hands.
You know the one thing I think you'd have trouble with on this list, actually, with your bare hands? It's me, that goddamn sand clam.
You try and grab it and it just eats your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy things though. Like,
But I do think the coolest, though, is the face eater. That's my favorite out of all
It's the most
of these.
unique for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
vicious hooks.
The dish towel appearance.
I love the dish towel appearance.
yeah, that's what makes it unique.
It's extremely quick life cycle.
If you run a campaign, I'm gonna perception check for towels and everything.
You
Don't
enter a
worry.
linen closet.
My
Oh.
uncle died to one of these things. Like you don't know what it is. You just know that like your uncle died to a towel.
Here's another thing you're gonna have to watch
I
out.
don't wash my hands ever. What if that's
That's when the coronavirus is gonna get you.
Here's another thing that you can never do in my campaign is you can't spit,
We'll find out
you
why.
can't pee, you can't walk.
No.
You better just die because a crotolid is gonna appear in your chest. So, anyways, that's all the animals that we had.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, now we're gonna get into plants and stay tuned. I know plants sounds boring, but they're actually really fucking cool. There's
Yeah,
some
like
that just
some of them
like,
have flowers.
my
and some of them are vines.
Some of them have leaves.
I'm a succulent kind of guy personally.
Okay.
I have so many succulents at my house.
Oh, you're a
Like, you have
succulent
no
man
idea.
too. We should.
He's a
get
man of
together and-
discerning tastes, James is.
No, there's so many plants at my house.
We should get
You were
together
there,
and
didn't you see?
succulent sometime, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'll show you mine succulent, and
Well, I'll
you
put our
show me-
succulents in the same bowl. See if they get along.
See if they get along.
Do you know how to raise plants, James?
Yeah.
Do you know how this works?
He puts a leash around the pot, walks it.
Well, it doesn't walk very good, so I have to put it in a little trailer, you know.
a little wagon.
Yeah, pull it along. It's got to get a fresh air.
And it's exercise.
And sunlight. All right, so stay tuned for the plants because they're actually really cool. So we're gonna take it all away with catechin brain leaf.
So native to the death world of Catachan, the brain leaf resembles a small tree. So while potentially unassuming, all it takes is one encounter to grasp just how dangerous this plant is. So the tree possesses the ability to detach its leaves, which then are capable of a simple version of flying or gliding, and it uses itself as a wing. So it flaps itself to gain altitude and direction. It will direct
Oh,
itself.
so what? Is it just gonna fly by me and like give me a paper cut?
That's right. Yeah, it actually just wants to do a quick nuzzle of your face, and then attach itself
no.
using rasping hooks and intrusive nerve bundles.
No.
It uses these bundles to overtake the host's nervous system, turning them into mobile slaves.
40K.
So
It's a tree that takes over my body.
that's right. It's still categorized as a plant, but the brain leaf is capable of directing its hosts in a sensible and rational manner, even forcing them to use tools or weapons.
Yeah, what's really crazy. So basically, anything that the host has access to, that brain leaf will also have access to. So if it's a psyker, you got a psychic tree leaf fucking thing now.
Yeah, you have a psychic slave to the
Yeah.
tree.
Yeah.
Or a navigator. And this is the craziest
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So it can force navigators to use their navigate abilities to find safe routes off, like through the warp. This plant is literally getting off planet because of navigator slaves. Like it forces you to pilot ships so you can take it off planet.
Picks up a seed. Yeah.
Takes it with you to another planet, plants the seed. Like that's
Yeah.
wild. And it's
That's
just
kinda
it's
cool.
just a plant.
What's crazy too is I don't know if this is true or not, but I don't think you can like detach this. Like it's in your nervous system, it's in your brain.
You would detach it, but you just die.
Catch 22. I guess.
No, for sure though.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So never let a leaf hit you when you're playing in Eric's world either.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah, I love this. I love learning about all this stuff because it really adds everything. So it is quite easy to see how the brain leaf can be found all over the galaxy, forcing its slaves to carry it to new planets. It's a pretty prolific plant.
Yeah. Very cool. Up next, we have creepers.
Ew.
Creepers
All
are
of
made
these
of
are not good to look at. For all of you listening, it's better that way.
Creepers are made of two parts: the main body that looks like a tower of vegetation, and its lower long, sinuous tentacle-like limbs. The lower limbs are used to grasp unsuspecting prey that wander too close, snapping and grabbing on instinct alone.
Yeah. And then once a prey has been grabbed, the limbs attempt to crush the victim to death and drag it to the immobile trunk section. When the tentacles have killed their prey, the trunk will release a powerful enzyme that begins to digest the body, which then quickly rots, spreading its nutrients into the soil under the tree.
It's kind of creepy. Like it just grabs humans and then it's like rubbing it on its like trunk body to get the
Sweet,
enzymes.
sweet nutrients.
Yeah.
It like just drops.
I kind of like it, the way it digests. It doesn't like bring it to.
Yeah,
a
it's
mouth.
not
It's
a
actually
mouth.
like it makes sense that it gathers nutrients to itself and just lets the soil. Do
Yeah,
the
yeah.
work.
And then, whatever goes into the soil, its roots collect.
Right,
and-
exactly.
It doesn't have,
it
like, a
all
digestive
makes
sac.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
very
that.
cool. And yeah, so we don't know a size on these, but they're big enough that as a human, you got to be careful about these things. So
That's
they're gonna be
big enough.
They're big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Floaters are the next one.
So,
I've seen those before.
well, then great. You can tell us all about them.
Well, every time. No, I won't do that. Floaters are plants. They're spherical balloons capable of synthesizing hydrogen, which they store inside their cellular tissue. This causes them to be extremely light and float with the wind, hence their name.
That's nice.
Ah,
So far, so
Bouncers, and
good.
you got floaters.
different kind of floater than I'm used to, but they are covered in short, sensitive hair-like nodules, which will trigger on impact with anything, causing the floater to burst. This can be quite explosive and dangerous to surrounding creatures, but its main purpose is to spread its seeds. Once exposed, these seeds will only take a couple of days to reach full maturity, floating on the wind and waiting to burst.
They're described as like a fucking frag grenade.
Yeah.
Oh, I was not picturing that kind of explosion.
Yeah. So,
Well, it's hydrogen in there. That's
Yeah.
And that just like launches like thousands of seeds in every fucking direction.
At like
in the
velocities that will kill you.
Yeah, on tabletop it was a strength 5 hit.
and humans are categorized as being strength 3, toughness 3 in this book. Because we were like, well, how strong is it? And so we looked at their profile versus the human's profile. I'm like, this is pretty fucking strong. Yeah. But so because they're filled with hydrogen, using any kind of explosive or heat-based weapon against them causes an ignition, and this drastically increases the lethality of the blast. Now it's an explosive blast.
Yeah. That's nice.
Floaters.
Floaters. They're fun. Yeah, and they would be probably scattered across the galaxy very easily.
Yeah.
Any plant would be. It's very easy to get
Yeah,
something
well,
on
when
your
it's-
shoe or whatever.
Well, I don't know if you could get these seeds on your shoe without it detonating and
Well, they're seeds, right?
propelling the seeds into your flesh.
Sure, but maybe you step on one that's in the ground or
Sure,
whatever.
that was already
or-
there
yeah,
from
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up next, we got gas fungus. There are many types of gas fungus or types of fungus in the galaxy, but this one acts quite uniquely. The variant found on Luther McKenty
oh, we're back to McIntyre. Luther McIntyre
can grow higher than 2 meters in height and is purple and covered with livid spots. If any vibrations are... Eric, you did like a... And it threw me off.
Well, yeah, they're red spots.
Oh, what did I say?
Just spots.
Oh. Okay. So the
It's important to be precise when you're talking about this vegetation, because sometimes if you eat the ones with the blue spots, it could kill you. As opposed to whatever this is about to do to you.
you can only eat lizards. That's all.
It's all that safe in the galaxy.
If any vibrations are sensed within 6 meters, it releases the gas that is named for, a simple but effective defensive mechanism. This gas is poisonous, but its lethality may vary from species to species. The gas remains in the area for close to an hour, but it takes closer to 3 hours to regenerate, like to get more gas.
Yeah.
This makes a small window of time where the gas fungus is vulnerable.
Can you get high on these?
Probably some
Before you
species.
die, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't say it's always lethal.
No.
Yes.
Another thing is that there are many types of gas fungus, even in other cells. This is another catch-all.
Yeah.
It's just the one they talk about is described as coming from Luther McIntyre, being purple with red spots. So there are many types of gas fungus.
So the blue ones aren't safe either.
Probably not. It's gas fungus.
Oh, interesting.
You also want to avoid any
Horses.
horses, orcs, I was going to say.
The most dangerous fungus. of
Yes.
all.
Another gas fungus.
Yeah, they're very gassy.
This does make me think of a cool idea for a model. Is
Purple with red spots.
No. The what are the fantasy goblin faction called? The
Oh, yeah.
Gloomspite
yeah.
Gits or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, they have this cool model with all these mushroom.
Yeah, they
features.
have
have one
mushroom
with like the
fungus
gas
everywhere.
cloud coming out of it. You could. They
Yeah,
already
yeah.
produced one. You heard it here first.
Go out. Bye.
I'll be right back.
You got him.
Pancake
Amoeba. So this single-celled creature spreads out across landscapes, flat like a pancake. It entraps anything that attempts to move on it and then begins to consume the unlucky traveler.
I don't have a picture for this one.
That's all right.
It's a single-celled
small.
organism. It makes sense.
Oh no, you do. It's right here. That's right.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, but it's just
Nice.
there's a lot of this like making terrain difficult to pass.
Yeah.
that you'll see a lot here. So,
Yeah.
with even the
I
rain
just want to
spore.
say what it's Is it just regular amoebas that get in your eye and eat your brain?
What?
Yeah, in real life. If you like jump into lakes.
This is real life.
We are currently in real.
Right.
Why do you think we're on a crusade against the horses?
Damn, I forgot.
So there will be no horses in space.
I don't want no toad horses running around, fucking creepy.
Climbing things.
Oh my god, we wouldn't even be safe on our houses. They could climb them. Rain spore. Rain spores are another kind of fungus. This one lays dormant for many years until it senses water. At this point, it erupts from the ground in a frenzy of uncontrolled growth. Spores are then released, poisonous to anyone that breathes them in. These spores will either land and become a new fungus growth if it rains and the water source persists, or if a drought is to be experienced, they will remain as spores waiting for the next hydration.
So this is the one where you better not pee
Or spit.
or spit, because if you do and it lands on one of these spores,
Right.
it will just erupt in front of your face in a cloud of poison spores.
That's nice.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Rubber moss.
So rubber moss exists on many planets in the Imperium. It is extremely resilient, it's dense, and notoriously hard to move over.
I thought that said nutritious.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe
Carpeting
eat it.
carpeting large areas, it is spread by its spores traveling on spacecraft. So probably how the majority of spores travel and even
Yeah.
plants.
And this is why you can't eat it.
Yeah, it's so bouncy
You break your jaw if you bite it.
Yeah, it like bounces open again.
that even vehicles cannot find a foothold on them and will be thrown into the air, damaging
Just
them.
imagine we're just driving down a road and Eric's
you
fucking
hit-
RPG. We hit a patch of this. Our vehicle flips. We're like, what happened? We get out, just a little bit of moss.
Yeah, it's
Fuck
kinda,
Eric, your games are awful.
You can't do anything.
every
Hold
step.
on, I just need to take a piss. Hold on.
You what? All right, who wants to do Spiker? James,
Yeah, I'll take it.
do it.
Widely considered one of the most dangerous plants in the galaxy, spikers are found on many death worlds, including Katakan. While they can be any size, they are normally around 2 meters tall and cylindrical in shape. But what's the width?
I don't know.
That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
They are covered in thick coating of hair-like leaves, which all end in a thin, sharp spike. So,
That's right.
don't walk into that.
Don't walk into it. That would be bad. Like a cactus.
It's capable of firing these spikes. From its body. The effect begins to take hold within a frightening short period of time. These spikes release a genetically intrusive chemical into the victim, which begins to reshape their body. Keep going! Oh my god. First, the appendage becomes hairy and immobile. And within a short time, the entire body will be covered in spikes. While the doomed being can still walk, it is aimless, for the spiker has begun to destroy their minds. Eventually, all mobility and thought is lost, and the victim morphs into a new spiker, ready to shoot spikes.
How do you like that?
I don't at all. Just walking around, just like get a
prick.
sliver or something.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell was that? 5 minutes later, you're all of a sudden a plant with spikes on you.
Yeah. Apparently, it's super quick too.
It's
Like,
extremely
yeah.
quick.
God,
Yeah. Yeah.
you need like power armor to go anywhere in the 41st millennium.
Yeah.
How do cetaceans survive?
Thick skin.
No.
They just harden their own skin.
They're just always flexing.
That's right.
I love here's a classic example of old GW terrain where they literally took like a dog toy, like on the picture on the right.
It does look like a dog toy.
Right?
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
And then they made it into canon.
Yeah, they painted it up, and now that's what everyone should look like.
Well, it looks good though.
Sure.
They're scary as shit, those spiders. No thanks.
All right.
Spine thorns.
Yeah, fuck those last ones. Maybe these ones would be better.
Yeah. Maybe. This small bush lacks any leaves.
So far, so good. No catechin brain leaves that will infect my nervous system and control me.
Right. It is tough. black and thorny.
I don't like thorns.
I don't like black.
Unlike
I have to edit that.
Unlike every other plant in the galaxy, this plant is harmless. Unless you touch it.
Oh, God.
When it is touched, the thorny branches begin to writhe and constrict, stabbing and slashing anything that gets tangled within them.
Great.
Just another hazard.
Yep.
That's what you want.
All right.
Ooh, this one probably is good.
You want to do this one?
No, I just gave him a spot. Can you find a timestamp for that? I'm sure you don't want me to say it, and I don't.
We are recording now. So now let's go to spongeweed.
Spongeweeds can survive long periods of drought by shrinking itself. When water is once again available, it rapidly expands its many small parts, forming one large organism again. It is very difficult to move through when hydrated, even trapping large vehicles.
But overall, not so bad.
Until a human's trapped in it, it's just like...
Yeah, I like to think that like when it's
And then you starve to death.
yeah.
well, I like to think that when it's like wet, it's like large, right? It expands like sponge, and so let's say you're in it, and then let's say it dries and it starts to constrict around
And it
you. Like I
crushes
like to
your
think that it can still
bones.
like trap you like that.
Okay.
And then it crushes your skin, and then like...
Yeah, like you can
all your blood goes out, so then it expands again, and now you're like this like, fucking pool.
Yeah. I do like to think it's still dangerous in
Mush.
that way.
All right.
I take it back.
Tangle fungus.
Tangle fungus.
Tangle fungus grows in a mass of tangling hyphae
Yeah, no, I have no idea. I
No.
don't know if that's how you say it.
over the surface of the ground. While not dangerous, it's extremely difficult to pass through. Hyphae is basically like many, like think branches where it's like lots of like...
Yeah, but normally like seen on very
Think-
small scales,
Yeah,
right?
think like a duck penis exploding. Like,
Nope.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's like, where it's like...
Nope.
Yeah,
Not quite.
just many.
That blew my mind. I don't know where that came from. I'm not Googling it.
Pull
I'm
up
not
a video, Mark.
Googling
Pull
it.
up
How
a
have
video.
you not Googled duck penises before, Jade? I thought you were a man of Slanish. Okay, well,
I'm not a man of Slanish.
Thermotropic vines.
disappointed.
Evolving on worlds where heat is a valuable resource, this fast-growing vine is adapted to find heat. If it senses heat near it, it shoots up a tendril
another
to
duck
trap the
penis.
source, not killing or harming, but immobilizing.
Oh,
That's right. The vine then presumably absorbed the heat of the trapped creature and has spread itself just a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it absorbs the heat and doesn't kill them?
Well, I don't think it like
not-
intentionally kills it.
'Cause,
It's
like,
not
you
like
would-
it's not like
But I think-
sucking your heat away.
Yeah.
It just immobilizes.
yeah, like
you.
more likely it's gonna go to like power generator stations and just like wrap themselves around that more so than
Yes.
like a human.
But,
But
if
it
it does
could.
catch you,
oh yes,
you're
You
gonna
are
freeze
trapped.
to death just because you can't. Even no matter how thick your coat is, if you're outside for 6 days because you can't move, you're still gonna die.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just not actively.
Trying to kill you.
Yes, it's
and
just
then
passively.
you're
killing
dead
you.
and your heat leaves you, so that like the
Then it
vine like,
uncoils after
yeah,
your
and your
frozen
skeleton
corpse,
just-
and people are like, "Why is this idiot just hanging out 2 feet from his door?"
fuck.
All right, and then the last plant that we have from this book is the Venus mantrap.
Oof.
Otherwise known as my
Sarah
mom.
Jessica Parker.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Why was it your mom?
That's weirder than mine.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Mark's mom, but she's a nice lady and she listens to this podcast.
She does listen, but she's not nice.
Yikes. So the Venus mantrap is found on many jungle-infested death worlds, standing at over 100 feet tall.
Yay.
Let that sink in for a moment.
Okay.
These massive trees are a terrifying sight to behold. They prey on anything that wanders too close to them, even capable of lashing out short distances to capture its prey. Once the prey is captured, it begins to eat them, digesting them in its juices. And each of its leaves can move independently, making the Venus mantrap an extremely dangerous hazard to be avoided at all costs unless you are suitably prepared.
100-foot Venus
100 foot
flytrap
tall. That's
with like 6 leaves minimum.
minimum
Or
capable.
average, I guess,
Yeah,
whatever.
capable of striking all out in different directions.
Even like tanks are not safe from this thing.
Yeah, because it'll try and digest it. It just probably won't. It'll damage, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a big boy.
Now let me tell you about one more plant.
Is it in the Rogue Trader book from 1987?
No, it's called the Gimpy Gimpy, and it's real. It's a very real threat. It comes from Australia.
Yeah, we talked about the Gimpy Gimpy when we were planning the episode.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I know what the Gimpy is. It's fucking terrifying.
Well, enlighten the listener.
So it's native to Australia. It's a short plant, but it has really, really big leaves, and they're actually quite thick. But it looks completely normal and harmless. There's nothing on it you'd think is dangerous.
Till
but
you try to...
it has...
What?
I don't know if you know how to raise plants either.
On the Gimpy Gimpy's leaves are these tiny, tiny little needles. They're very small, like millimeter high. And if you touch it, they're barbed and they latch onto your skin and they leave the plant immediately. And then they emit like a neurotoxin into your bloodstream. And then within minutes, like depending on the size of how much you have, like it ranges from like nauseating and like writhing on the ground to like nerve damage. Like it will burn out all the nerves because there's so much pain running through your body. They can kill you, these plants. If you're like, they'll make you go insane if you like get hit enough. This one guy.
What is wrong with Australia?
This one guy, he brushed 2 fingers, the
Where's the
back of
criminals
2
in
of
all
his
this?
fingers on this plant, and within 10 minutes, he was vomiting from pain. 2 fingers, he lightly brushed, he said. And 10 minutes, he's vomiting from pain. Imagine if you fell into that.
And it could last up to months.
Yeah, and the only way, like, is to go to a doctor, and even they have trouble getting it out. But they said the best field way to get it out is get like a waxing strip, like put it on, like you have to press it on. And he threw up while he tried to do that because it was just injecting more neurotoxin into his body. And then you rip them out with this wax, and it doesn't get them all out.
It's like described as the most painful.
It's one of the most painful things in the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Why Australia?
Why would you make this? So
Why does this
The
plant
fucking
exist?
Gimpy.
Is this thing like super dangerous to animals as well?
There's an
Like-
animal that actually eats off of it.
Yeah.
That's unaffected.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a,
What?
Yeah.
But hairs, like the more hairs you have on your body, the less likely these little things
Sure.
will have
Cut your
to
skin.
get to your skin.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
They have a more of a natural protection to it than we do.
Okay.
Because we're hairless idiots. We're weak animals.
Yeah, so dangerous.
Yeah.
So dangerous.
each one of us capable of killing a cougar.
Not me.
Whoa, hold on. I didn't say each of us.
If Christian can do it, each one of us.
They're not even that long. If you measure them properly, they're only 2 feet long.
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
If you break their fucking spine, they're only a foot long then. Just saying.
Fold them in half.
It all depends on how you measure them.
It's all about the fold.
Yeah, so that was Rogue Trader from 1987.
Some classic bits in there.
But still like really good, and a lot of that has carried forward, like even just the character of what they're describing, a lot of that still exists.
Yeah,
in
like you
40K.
could mention any one of them, brought into modern 40K and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't
Absolutely,
question
except for
any of them.
horses.
Yeah.
Why are they everywhere?
Yeah, no, it's very cool to also see how like things have been written and changed. Like in this book, they don't call it Terra.
Yeah.
they call it Earth.
Yeah.
Which seemed like an interesting thing to me.
Yeah.
Space Marines are very different. The
Yeah.
interactions between humans and orcs, like there was a settlement, Hell's Reach actually in this book was a settlement where humans and orcs lived together.
Crazy.
So that's changed a little
Yeah.
bit.
So
Just a little bit.
basically,
So there are some massive changes.
yeah, anything that we haven't talked about in this episode, and even stuff in this episode, I don't think I'd take anything as canon. Not
It's a little tough.
Well, except for the stuff that they have brought through, like ambles,
Like Gyrinx.
yeah, like very few
razor
things.
wings.
Very few things.
But there are some things in there that
The
even-
Cetacean Devil keeps appearing,
Yeah.
whether or not it's
The-
the same Cetacean
Yeah,
Devil.
the book as a whole, though, like if you're looking for like information.
It's not going to be very
not
good. It
reliable.
should be more of like a, oh wow, like how much, like it's crazy how this has changed,
Yeah.
or
And it's cool
you
to
know,
see that.
why haven't they written about this in the past 30 years? Like there are some things written in here that just don't exist anywhere else,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Anyways, I think that's the end of that episode. Hopefully, any of you world builders out there also got some cool ideas on how you could introduce this to your players.
I think the word surprise your players is better than introduce. This is not a formal lesson or anything. This is
Don't spit there.
aha, you've activated my trap card.
Yeah. Oh man, so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for listening,
Yeah.
and catch you on the next episode.
On the flippity flop, go
You guys got to
check
get
out our
Dylan on one of
Patreon.
these episodes. Talk about compare his home country to 40K.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got one of those back home.
We wrestle it though.
That's what the children play with.
All right.
Cool.